Chapter 606. When Ning Fan sensed Wei Xian's qi, he felt slightly relieved. Wei Xian would definitely help him. With Wei Xian's mediation, killing the Vine Sovereign wouldn't cause any trouble in the higher domain. Since Brother Lu doesn't have the confidence to deal with the Four Heavens Deacons, how about this? You leave the Vine King Palace first. I will settle the matters here, said Lu Haoyue righteously. Ning Fan smiled faintly. This Lu Haoyue is indeed a person worth befriending. There's no need for that. I'm quite confident in dealing with these four heavenly deacons now. Brother Lu, please lead the way to the Vine King Palace. This. All right. Lu Haoyue did not ask much. Both of them turned into rays of light and flew into the Vine King Palace in the city. In the main hall, the Bamboo Emperor sat on the main seat while two cultivators sat on the guest seats. They were the four heavenly deacons. One of them was an old man in black robes. His cultivation base was at the second heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. He was none other than Wei Xian, who had given Ning Fan the opportunity in the Star Palace in the past. Sensing Ning Fan's arrival, Wei Xian slowly opened his eyes. He looked at Ning Fan with a hint of disbelief and then gave him a friendly smile. The other person was dressed in a fiery red Taoist robe. He was a handsome young man with a Taoist bun. His cultivation base was at the sixth heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. The corner of the young man's lips curled into a faint smile. He played with the teacup in his hand and ignored the others. After sensing Ning Fan's arrival, the young man suddenly raised his head. Four fiery red stars lit up on his glabella. His eyes were like blazing flames as he stared at Ning Fan. You're Liu Bei, the one who killed the Vine Sovereign. The young man's tone was filled with anger. Yes. Ning Fan took half a step back. His heart was slightly startled and he replied in a clear voice. The yin-yang flame in Ning Fan's body was slightly out of control when the young man's gaze landed on him. Fortunately, Ning Fan immediately circulated his minor five elements physique to suppress the flames that were about to go out of control. The way he looked at the young man in Taoist robe carried a hint of fear. Inextinguishable fire physique. Ning Fan's expression did not change, but he was inwardly shocked. He had seen through the physique of the young man in Taoist robes. Minor five elements body. The young man in Taoist robes was rather surprised when he realized that his ability could not make Ning Fan's flames go out of control. Ha, don't be nervous. Let me introduce you. This deacon is the young clan master of the Chu clan of the Northern Heaven Immortal World's true flame planet, Chu Yuran. He also has another identity. He is one of the four sons of the northern sky of this generation. People call him Emperor Nan. Wei Xian stood up politely and introduced the young man in Taoist robes to Ning Fan. His intimate expression towards Ning Fan was not fake at all. It was as if the two of them had a deep friendship. Lu Haoyue and the Bamboo Emperor were stunned. They did not understand why the high and mighty four heaven deacons would be so polite to a cultivator from a lower realm. One should know that even if they were divine emperors from the lower worlds, they were rarely treated politely by the four deacons. They were immortal officials from the upper realm, after all. Every single one of them had a sense of superiority, and they generally looked down on cultivators from the lower realm. Therefore, Lu Haoyue and the Bamboo Sovereign found it unbelievable that Wei Xian was so polite to Ning Fan. Chu Yuran was slightly startled. Obviously, she did not expect that Wei Xian would be so polite to Ning Fan. Then, his eyes swept back and forth between Wei Xian and Ning Fan, revealing a meaningful smile. Uncle Wei, may I ask if this Liu Bei is your descendant? That's right. Could he be? That's right. The conversation between the two of them contained a hidden meaning that only the authorities could understand. Ning Fan, however, had some deductions from the information revealed in their conversation. This Chu Yuran was very polite to Wei Xian. He even addressed him as uncle. Obviously, the Chu clan of True Flame Star and the Wei clan of He Luo were old friends. It was highly possible that Chu Yuran was a friend and not an enemy. As for Chu Yuren's last sentence, he seemed to have guessed Ning Fan's identity. Ning Fan was not sure what exactly Chu Yuren had guessed. Just as he was pondering, Wei Xian sent him a telepathic message. The old ancestor of the Chu clan was your master's best friend. Unfortunately, he had already passed away before your master was in trouble. Otherwise, he definitely wouldn't have watched your master being bullied by the White Devil sect and betrayed by Han Yetian. There are still a few Void Fragmentation Realm old men in the Chu clan. On the day when the ancient heavenly court opens, these people will find an excuse to enter the ancient heavenly court from the path of four heavens and help you kill Han Yetian. I see. Ning Fan nodded his head. It seemed like this Chu Yuran was indeed a friend and not an enemy. As for the things he had guessed previously, he was probably guessing that Ning Fan was the disciple of the old devil. After knowing Ning Fan's identity, Chu Yuren's gaze towards Ning Fan was filled with friendliness. He stood up and said with a smile. It turns out that Brother Lu is Senior Han's outstanding disciple. No wonder you could subdue the ferocious beast Niali and kill the Vine Sovereign with your absolute void stage cultivation base. With such impressive achievements, you really live up to your master's reputation. It seemed like this Chu Yuran held the old devil in high esteem and admired him very much. However, the words he said did not seem to be law-abiding. He was a deacon of the four heavens who came to investigate the death of the Vine Sovereign. When he spoke, he did not seek justice for the fallen Vine Sovereign, nor did he reprimand Ning Fan for killing the Vine Sovereign. He also did not investigate whether Ning Fan was a cultivator from another world. On the contrary, he stood on Ning Fan's side and praised him for killing the Vine Sovereign. Such remarks really did not match his status as a deacon. Lu Haoyue was speechless. Initially, he was worried that these two deacons of the four heavens would cause trouble for Ning Fan. Now, it seemed like these two deacons of the four heavens actually had a close relationship with Ning Fan. The Bamboo Sovereign found it even more unbelievable. He could not figure out how Ning Fan, a cultivator from the lower world, could get in touch with the deacons of the four heavens from the upper world. Judging from the situation, these two deacons of the four heavens were going to show favoritism to Ning Fan. As expected, Chu Yuren's next few questions made the two sovereigns not know whether to laugh or cry. Liu Bei, let me ask you. Were you the one who killed the Vine Sovereign? Yes. Why did you kill him? He sent his men to hunt me down first. I was just retaliating. Oh. So it was the Vine Sovereign who provoked you first. In that case, he deserved to die. A divine sovereign of the tree world went after a junior of the absolute void stage for no reason but failed and got killed instead. He deserved it. Hee hee. Alright, the investigation is over. My opinion is that the Vine Sovereign of the tree world deserved to die after Liu Bei. Liu Bei doesn't need to bear any responsibility. What do you think, Uncle Wei? Chu Yuran asked with a smile. I agree with Deacon Chu's opinion. Wei Xian chuckled. If that's the case, I'll take my leave first. I'll return to the four heavens and report the results of this investigation to the four primordial sects. Sigh. Uncle Wei and I have been working so hard to investigate the case in the lower world. Unfortunately, the people of the four primordial sects won't even look at the results of our investigation. To them, the death of a void fragmentation realm divine sovereign in the lower world is just a trivial matter. They won't care about it at all. They can't even manage the affairs of the four heavenly immortals, so why would they care about the trivial matters in the lower world? Chu Yuran looked meaningfully at Lu Haoyue and the Bamboo Emperor. His last words were a reminder to the Bamboo and Lu Emperors. Even though he had obviously shown favoritism to Ning Fan, it would be useless even if he reports this matter to the four primordial sects. It was better for the two sovereigns to pretend that they did not see the matter of favoritism today and not meddle in other people's business. After that, he cupped his fists at Wei Xian and Ning Fan. Then, he took out a star compass and summoned a star door. With a single step, he stepped into the star door and returned to the four heavens. What Chu Yuran did not know was that the bamboo sovereign owed Ning Fan a favor of saving his life. Sovereign Lu regarded Ning Fan as his bosom friend, and he could not wait for Ning Fan to get away from his crime. Thus, he did not have any opinion about Chu Yuran's favoritism. Today, the 2 deacons and the 2 tree sovereigns in the Vine King Palace were Ning Fan's subordinates. Today, Ning Fan was completely cleared of any crime. He. The investigation of the deacons of the 4 heavens has ended. Brother Lu is not guilty. Both of us are relieved. We will take our leave first. Lu Haoyue and the bamboo sovereign knew that Ning Fan was no longer in trouble. In the Vine King Palace, only Ning Fan and Wei Xian were left. Ning Fan looked at Wei Xian and did not know whether to laugh or cry. Senior Wei, did you purposely descend to the mortal world this time to absolve me of my crime? That's right. When I received the dossier on the Vine Sovereign's death and saw that you were the one who killed the Vine Sovereign, I immediately brought Chu Yuran to the lower realm to help you. Many thanks. Ning Fan solemnly cupped his fists towards Wei Xian. This time, Ning Fan felt a little strange about the experience of selling the Vine Sovereign for personal gain. He was a devil cultivator. He would not deny the fact that he had killed the Vine Sovereign. However, he also did not have the intention to compromise and please the deacons of the 4 heavens to absolve himself of his crime. However, Wei Xian came all the way to the mortal world to absolve Ning Fan of his crime. Ning Fan appreciated his kindness. He. What are you thanking me for? You are old man Han's disciple, which means you are also my disciple. Why can't I help you? Why do you need to thank me? Wei Xian waved his hand, indicating that Ning Fan did not need to thank him. Then, he continued, next time, do it more discreetly. Don't let anyone see you. In other words, he was telling Ning Fan to do it more discreetly the next time he kills a divine sovereign from the mortal world. As long as no one sees it, no one would care. Understood. Ning Fan will remember senior's teachings. That's good. Wei Xian stroked his beard and looked at Ning Fan with satisfaction. It had only been a few years since they last met, and Ning Fan had actually advanced step by step to the absolute void stage from a mere divine transformation realm cultivator. Moreover, Ning Fan was not an ordinary absolute void stage cultivator. In a fit of rage, he even destroyed the Vine Sovereign. As far as Wei Xian knew, the Vine Sovereign and Moksha Sovereign were both cultivators at the 5th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. They were not much weaker than Moksha Sovereign. Since Ning Fan could fight against the Vine Sovereign, he was qualified to challenge Moksha Sovereign. This incident has caused a huge commotion. I have already told Old Han about your deeds. You can even kill the Vine Sovereign. I believe he will be proud of you, Chu. In the Sword Realm, Old Devil Han was sitting leisurely in a glacial sword city when he suddenly sneezed. Who's badmouthing me behind my back? You made me sneeze. Old Demon Han was the first to curse. How disrespectful. This Ning brat's behavior was simply disrespecting his elders. He actually single-handedly destroyed the Vine Hall of the Tree World. But he didn't even ask me, his master, to go with him. How disrespectful. Old Demon Han looked at the jade slip that Wei Xian had sent over and cursed again. Little Ning is too weak. He's really fast. He's dozens of times faster than me when I was young. That's not right. As a man, what good was there in being fast? What was important was endurance. Endurance is the most important thing. I can last longer than little Ning. I'm proud. I'm proud. Old Devil Han cursed for the 3rd time. Old Man Wei said that little Ning will go to the ancient heavenly court in another 40 years to fight against that evil disciple. Old Devil's expression suddenly turned silent and revealed a worried expression. Little Ning, I don't care whether I kill that evil disciple or not. But you can't die. You must be careful. You're my only disciple. After having a secret conversation with Ning Fan for a few hours, Wei Xian left a bulging storage pouch for Ning Fan and returned to the 4th heavenly court. What he discussed with Ning Fan was the matter of going to the ancient heavenly court to help him 40 years later. In the storage pouch that he passed to Ning Fan, there were nearly 100 bottles of peak 6th revolution pills. All of them were pills that could increase one's cultivation base at the absolute void stage. These pills were collected by Wei Xian with great difficulty just to give to Ning Fan to help him increase his cultivation base. Other than that, Wei Xian had also collected more than 40 void refinement realm Dao fruits and 3 void fragmentation realm Dao fruits from somewhere. With his current cultivation base at the second heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, it was definitely not easy for him to obtain so many pills and Dao fruits. Ning Fan was very grateful to Wei Xian. He would always remember the kindness that Wei Xian had shown him, and he would definitely repay him in the future. After Wei Xian left, Ning Fan followed Lu Haoyue to the treasure-storing heavenly dwelling in the inner hall of the Vine King Palace. As soon as he entered the heavenly dwelling, Ning Fan's eyes scanned through the hundreds of generations of accumulations of the Vine Palace, and his eyes were filled with astonishment. With the evil fruit, the pills that Wei Xian gave him, and the 100 generations of accumulation of the Vine Hall, it would not be difficult for Ning Fan to break through to the origin returning Great Void stage. Moreover, most of the obstacles on his path to the void fragmentation realm could be eliminated with the help of the countless heavenly materials and earthly treasures in the Vine Palace. Brother Ning, since you killed the Vine Sovereign, all the treasures in the Vine Hall should belong to you. Look at these things. Are you satisfied? Lu Haoyue asked with a smile. He, the divine emperor of the Lu Palace, had no shortage of elixirs and treasures for cultivation. However, to Ning Fan, the savings of the Vine Palace was definitely an unimaginably huge amount of wealth, that was a quarter of the wealth of the tree world. Chapter 607. Ning Fan's eyes carefully scanned through the heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures that were piled up like mountains in the heavenly dwelling. Some of the heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures here were carried out from the secret place of the Vine World of the Vine Palace. Some of them were plundered from the remaining forces of the Vine Palace. In front of Ning Fan, there were 400 mountains that were piled up with immortal jade. Each mountain was made up of 10 billion immortal jade. There was also a small mountain that was made up of Dao crystals. There were about 200,000 Dao crystals. This was the huge amount of wealth that the Vine Sovereign used to provide for the cultivators of the Vine Palace. Now, this wealth belonged to Ning Fan. All the cultivation methods and secret techniques of the Vine Palace filled up 1,000 jade shelves. All the spiritual herbs and spiritual roots of the Vine Palace filled up 100 medicine shops and spiritual fields. All the jade bottles of pills in the Vine Palace filled up 100 jade boxes. Among this batch of pills, there were even 3 high-grade 7th revolution healing pills. The name of the pill was Lucien Pill. It was a kind of holy healing medicine in the heaven immortal world. The Vine Palace is really rich. With these pills, Little Black's injuries won't be a problem anymore. Ning Fan smiled gently. Spiritual puppets, magic treasures, spiritual equipment. The chi of treasures soared into the sky, causing the sky of the heavenly dwelling to be filled with the light of treasures and clouds. Ning Fan's eyes scanned through those magic treasures and spiritual equipment. Among them, there were many magic treasures and spiritual equipment that were quite powerful, which made him very excited. However, Ning Fan still shifted his gaze and focused all of his attention on a towering ancient vine tree. That ancient vine tree was very similar to the ancestral bamboo of the Bamboo Palace. Perhaps there used to be a tree spirit inside the tree which was at the first or second fragmentation realm. However, this tree spirit had already been killed. Lu Haoyue also looked at the ancient vine tree with fiery eyes and explained to Ning Fan. This is the guardian tree of the Vine Palace, the origin-suppressing ancestral vine. Originally, there was a second fragmentation tree spirit in the ancestral vine tree. He was a remnant who was loyal to the Vine Palace, but I have already killed him. The fruit of the ancestral bamboo of the Bamboo Palace can increase the power of a cultivator's intent realm. On the other hand, the fruit of the Vine Hall's ancestral vine could greatly enhance a cultivator's divine sense. If one could devour the entire ancestral vine, it would greatly benefit a cultivator's divine sense. If I can devour this ancestral tang, my spirit sense will improve by at least a small realm, reaching the 6th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. However, since the vine sovereign was killed by Brother Lu, this ancestral vine naturally belongs to Brother Lu. If Brother Lu devours this ancestral vine, even if your cultivation base hasn't reached the void fragmentation realm yet, your spirit sense will most likely reach the void fragmentation realm first. If your spirit sense reaches the void fragmentation realm first, it will be much easier for Brother Lu to advance to the void fragmentation realm in the future. Lu Haoyue came from afar to annihilate the Vine Hall. After he destroyed it, he sealed all the precious treasures of the Vine Hall and left all of them to Ning Fan. The reason why Lu Haoyue did that was because he was grateful to Ning Fan for lending him a helping hand. Secondly, he regarded Ning Fan as a friend. That was why he treated him sincerely. Ning Fan gave Lu Haoyue a deep look without saying anything. Deep down, he had already regarded Lu Haoyue as a friend. Along the way, he had rarely made friends with others. However, Lu Haoyue's temperament was very similar to his. They could be friends of the same kind. Although there are many things in the Vine Hall, not all of them are useful to me. I will only take the useful items from the things here. As for the rest, I will leave them all to Brother Lu as the expenses to expand the forces of the Lu Palace. As soon as Ning Fan finished speaking, he took away 1 trillion immortal jade and 200,000 Dao crystals. He also took away all the useful pill recipes and cultivation methods. He also took away all the pills that could increase one's cultivation base at the absolute void stage. He only took half of the spiritual herbs that were 50,000 years old and above. As for the magic treasures and spiritual equipment, he only took 5 to 6 useful items. As for the high-grade 7th Revolution healing pills, they were naturally taken away by Ning Fan. As for the remaining items, he left them all to Lu Haoyue. It's considered my fortune to be able to meet Brother Lu in my lifetime. Now, I still have some matters to attend to and I have no choice but to leave. If I have time in the future, I will certainly have a drink and discuss the Tao with Brother Lu again. Farewell. Ning Fan cupped his fists at Lu Haoyue. Then, he turned around and left the heavenly dwelling, directly leaving the Vine King city. Brother Lu, you. Lu Haoyue was greatly astonished. He did not expect that Ning Fan would leave so many things for him. However, after giving it a thought, he understood Ning Fan's intention. Of course, Lu Haoyue knew Ning Fan's real name and his identity as a cultivator of the Rain World. However, he never pointed it out. When Ning Fan left, he addressed himself as Ning Fan. It was because he wanted to be honest with Lu Haoyue with his real identity. Given Ning Fan's cold personality, the way he said that meant that he regarded Lu Haoyue as a friend. Moreover, the reason why he left so many resources of the Vine Hall to Lu Haoyue was also because he wanted to help Lu Haoyue. Today, the Vine Hall was destroyed and the Bamboo Hall had declined. Even though the Bamboo Sovereign was still around, he was also recuperating. He had suffered serious injuries during the battle and it would be difficult for him to recover without 100 years. Among the 3 sovereigns of the tree world, only the Lu Hall still had its resources. In the future, the tree world would need the Lu Hall to hold up the facade of the tree world. If the Lu Hall wants to increase its strength, it would need a large amount of money and pills. As for why Ning Fan left the Vine King city in a hurry, it was because he did not want to drag Lu Haoyue down by staying here. After killing the Vine Sovereign and Wan Changkong, Ning Fan had offended the 3 Realms sect. The disturbance caused by the deacons of the 4 oceans had already passed. However, no one knew how the 3 Realms sect would deal with him. The 3 Realms sect was a force of the upper 3 Realms realm. They could not openly attack the Bamboo Sovereign and Lu Sovereign, but they could find an excuse to deal with Ning Fan. Ning Fan had a premonition that the 3 Realms sect would not give up just like this. After leaving the Vine King city, he would find a place to enter seclusion and return to his primordial essence. Then, he would begin to subdue the rogue devil. If he can successfully subdue the rogue devil, he would not be afraid even if the sect master of the Three Realms sect comes personally. I appreciate Brother Ning's good intention. However, I, Lu Haoyue, am not a person who is afraid of trouble. If the Three Realms sect really wants to make things difficult for you, I certainly won't stand idly by. In a flash, Lu Haoyue walked out of the heavenly dwelling. He cupped his fists towards the direction where Ning Fan had left and said using telepathy. Ning Fan, who had already gone 1,000,000 li away from the Vine King city, heard Lu Haoyue's telepathy. His eyes flashed slightly, but he did not say anything and continued to fly further away. In the beginning, he went all the way to the west. Later on, he turned south. After traveling for a few days, he found a desolate and uninhabited mountain. He opened up a cave dwelling and went into seclusion there. Inside the cave dwelling, Ning Fan took out a new set of turtle shell for divination and calculated his fortune before he leaves the tree world. With his divination technique, he naturally could not predict the specific future. However, after a round of divination, his turtle shell shattered again. The crisis in the Eastern Tree Sea has ended, but my crisis has yet to end. The shattering of the turtle shell is still a great omen, great omen. Could this calamity be the Three Realms sect? Ning Fan withdrew all of his thoughts. With a sway of his body, he went into the cauldron world. Both Ting Xianro and Purple-Eyed Evil Li were in the cauldron world. After nearly 2 months of recuperation, the injuries that Ting Xianro suffered from during the battle against the ancestral bamboo tree devil had already healed. As for the Purple-Eyed Evil Li, her injuries were definitely not light. The injuries that Wan Changkong left on her gradually worsened under the Vine Sovereign's desperate counterattack. If it wasn't because she wanted to protect Ning Fan, she certainly would not have been injured by Wan Changkong and the Vine Sovereign given her abilities. As soon as Ning Fan entered the cauldron world, he immediately flew hundreds of millions of li to the north and arrived above a massive lake. The water of this lake was usually crystal clear. At this moment, however, it was dyed black and purple by the filthy blood. Moreover, it emitted a foul stench. The thing that tainted the lake water was the Purple-Eyed Evil Li. She was recuperating at the bottom of the lake. However, her injuries were too severe. It would be difficult for her to fully recover without at least 100 years of recuperation. Are her injuries so severe? Ning Fan did not mind the foul stench. With a flash of his traveling light, he dived to the bottom of the lake and appeared beside the Purple-Eyed Evil Li. He gently stroked her feathers, which were softer than the hair of a woman. Shriek! Shriek! Seeing Ning Fan's arrival, the Purple-Eyed Evil Li immediately cupped her head obediently. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with a smile. He patted the Purple-Eyed Evil Li's gigantic beak and took out a high-grade 7th Revolution Immortal pill and gently fed it to her. He had obtained a total of 3 pills. One was for the little sable and the other was for the Purple-Eyed Evil Li. As for the last one, Ning Fan could keep it for the time being. He had only met this Purple-Eyed Evil Li for a short period of time. However, he was deeply touched by her intention to protect him even at the cost of her own life. As for the other 3 Evil Li, they were wild and untamed. It was fine if they died. However, Ning Fan had already regarded this Purple-Eyed Evil Li as his spiritual pet. Thus, he would not let her suffer from severe injuries. Shriek! Shriek! The Purple-Eyed Evil Li obediently swallowed the pill and looked at Ning Fan gratefully with her beautiful light purple eyes. From today onwards, you will be called Zili. You will stay by my side. If I don't die, I won't let you die. Ning Fan stroked the black feathers of the Purple-Eyed Evil Li. In a flash, he left the cauldron world and entered the dark golden pagoda in the Yuanya world. The Purple-Eyed Evil Li stared at Ning Fan's departing light. Her eyes were filled with reluctance and determination. He was the last member of the Fu Li clan. She would certainly do everything she could to protect him. She must. In the Yuanya world, Ning Fan climbed to the 7th floor of the pagoda step by step. He entered a palace room and walked into a paradise. Sitting cross-legged on the peak of a tall mountain, Ning Fan took out bottles of pills and Dao fruits and began to consume them. The first thing he consumed was the large number of 6th Revolution pills he obtained from the Vine Palace. Among the pills in the Vine Palace, there were more than 2,000 peak 6th Revolution pills which could increase the cultivation base of an absolute void stage cultivator. These pills could increase the magic power of an absolute void stage cultivator by nearly 20 million units. As the force of the tree sovereign, the Vine Palace naturally had an extraordinary foundation. These 2,000 pills were made up of dozens of different types of pills. They were the accumulation of the Vine Palace for hundreds of generations. Ning Fan had opened up the first divine aperture of an ancient god. The effect of the pills that could increase his magic power was 2 times that of an ordinary cultivator. 1 pill was equivalent to 2 pills. Time passed day by day. 50 years had passed in the blink of an eye on the 7th floor of the pagoda. Ning Fan had spent 50 years to refine all the accumulation of the Vine Palace. His magic power had increased from 21.1 million units to 59 million units. The reason why his magic power did not reach the same level was because he was resistant to the medicinal properties of the pills. Now that his cultivation base had reached this level, Ning Fan could actually begin to return to his original state. He was not in a hurry to return to his original state. Instead, he took out the pills and Dao fruits that Wei Xian gave him and consumed them one by one. Time flew. Another 30 years had passed in the pagoda. Ning Fan's magic power was already close to 85 million units. In the end, he took out 20 evil fruits and began to refine them. Time passed day by day. Ning Fan's magic power had already broken through the limit of 100 million units and it was still increasing. In terms of magic power alone, he had already surpassed an ordinary absolute void stage cultivator by a huge margin. He was not much weaker than an old monster at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. At this stage, he finally began to borrow the power of the Dao crystals to turn the 60 units of magic power into 1 unit of magic power. 1 Dao crystal would be consumed for every 1,000 units of magic power he had. If Ning Fan wants to return all of his magic power to his original state, he would need to spend at least 125,000 Dao crystals. Chapter 608. Everything was difficult at the beginning. The hardest step of returning to the origin was to return to the first thread of Yuanhui's mana. With the first strand of Yuanhui mana, one could give birth to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to 10,000. Ning Fan flicked his sleeve and a mountain of Dao crystals suddenly appeared on the summit of the mountain. He bent his palm and summoned a Dao crystal. Holding it in his hand, he carefully felt the vast flow of heaven and earth elemental energy within the Dao crystal. To cultivators before the origin returning realm, immortal jades and Dao crystals only had a few simple uses, as currency, setting up formations, forging tools, etc. For cultivators who had returned to the origin returning realm, after their magic power had returned to the origin returning realm, they could directly absorb the heaven and earth yuan qi within the immortal jade and Dao crystal to recover their magic power and even raise their cultivation. A Dao crystal was equivalent to 5 million immortal jades, and the elemental energy contained within it was enough to raise one's eyebrows. After attaining the void fragmentation realm, the main way to increase one's cultivation base was no longer to consume pills. Instead, it was to absorb the primordial force of the Dao crystals. Yuanhui, Ning Fan closed his eyes and slowly absorbed the primordial power of heaven and earth within the Dao crystal. Following the absorption of the origin energy, the flickering luster on the Dao crystal gradually dimmed, and after the origin energy was completely exhausted, it dried up and shattered. Ning Fan absorbed the primordial power within the Dao crystal, allowing it to fuse with the magic power in his body. Gradually, the magical power in Ning Fan's immortal veins began to change. It was like the evaporation of the ocean, leaving only sea salt at the bottom of the ocean. It was as if the fog had turned into water and the water had turned into ice. It was as if sand had fallen into the earth, and the earth had piled up to form a mountain. It was like a seed germinating, growing into a towering ancient tree, blooming and bearing fruit. It was an indescribably mysterious feeling. A whole 1,000 units of spiritual power, like scattered silk threads, were slowly being twisted into an extremely thin rope. That rope was Yuan Hui's supernatural power. However, just as this strand of Yuan Hui mana was about to take shape, it suddenly loosened and turned back into a unit of mana. Failure. The first strand of Yuan Hui magical power is indeed the hardest to cultivate. Ning Fan did not show the slightest dispirited expression. He calmed himself down and fetched another Dao crystal, trying to return it to his primordial essence. He failed again and again, and tried again and again. Ning Fan stayed in the 7th floor of the pagoda for another 10 years. Over the past 10 years, he had tried to return to his origin 20,000 times and used up 20,000 Dao gems before he finally cultivated the first strand of Yuan Hui mana. At the moment when the magic power of 1,000 units turned into Yuan Hui magic power, Ning Fan's aura underwent an obvious change. His appearance was still that of a young man, but his aura carried a trace of vicissitudes. He opened his palm, and a stream of white gas immediately came out of his palm, turning into a drop of rain. This drop of rain was the form of Yihui's magical power. Ning Fan used the origin returning technique of the rain ancestor to return to his primordial essence. Naturally, his magic power also followed the rain sovereign and turned into rain. As for this drop of rain, it contained all of his understanding and Dao comprehension towards rain in his entire life. Looking at the raindrops on his palm, Ning Fan was suddenly enlightened. He understood the true meaning of 60 years return to origin. Those who possessed 60 units of magic power were humans. Those who possessed Yuan Hui dermic powers were immortals. When cultivating magic power for 60 years, cultivators cultivate their magic power. During the cultivation of essence and magic power, the cultivator not only cultivated magic power, but also cultivated their own Dao. Mortals cultivate techniques while immortals cultivate the Dao. The Dao comes from techniques and techniques develop within the Dao. Ning Fan sighed and dispersed the rain in his palm. That was the first trace of Yuan Hui magic power that he had condensed after 10 years of hard work. Rain is the rain ancestor's Dao. However, it isn't my Dao. My Dao isn't rain. Even though I can use the rain ancestor's origin returning technique to return to my primordial essence, the magic power produced by this method is different from my Dao. Rain is not a good choice. My Dao is the butterfly. It's that undying obsession. The so-called origin returning technique is to use the power of the Dao crystal to merge the Dao into the technique. So that's how it is. Ning Fan bent his palm and beckoned another Dao crystal to him, absorbing and refining it. This time, he slightly modified the rain ancestor's origin returning technique. He retained the unique characteristic of the rain ancestor's technique of combining 3 types of power into one. However, he integrated his own Dao into the technique. In the blink of an eye, another 10 years had passed. After consuming 20,000 Dao crystals, Ning Fan successfully returned to his primordial essence and cultivated his first trace of Yuan Hui magic power. He opened his palm. This time, the form of magic power that was produced was a black butterfly. The black color was his devil sense of obsession. It's still a little lacking. Ning Fan dispersed the black butterfly once again. Once again, he started from zero and returned to his primordial essence. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Another 10 years had passed. Ning Fan successfully cultivated Yuan Hui magic power for the 3rd time. He opened his palm. This time, the form of magic power that was produced was still the black butterfly. However, as long as Ning Fan willed it, it would turn into a white butterfly again. When he willed it again, the butterfly turned half black and half white. The black color was his devil sense of obsession. The white color was his gentleness that he could not bear to part with. Even though he had fallen into the devil Dao, he was not a pure devil. He was not a pure devil cultivator, a pure sword cultivator or a pure pill refinement master. He was not a person who could be easily determined. He was just Ning Fan. If he loses the white color, the black color that he had turned into would be meaningless. If he loses the black color, he would lose the means to protect the white color. I am me. One yin and one yang. Neither good nor evil. This is my Tao. The first trace of Yuanhui magic power has been formed. The rest is easy. Refine. Ning Fan flicked his sleeve and summoned a few pieces of Tao crystals to him. He devoured them at the same time. Day after day passed. More and more units of magic power turned into Yuanhui magic power. The qi around Ning Fan's body also became thicker and older. Nearly 125 million units of magic power eventually turned into 57,870 units of Yuanhui magic power. Even though the quantity had decreased, the quality of his magic power had improved tremendously. Just by returning his magic power to his primordial essence, Ning Fan's combat power was at least 50% stronger than before. There were still 170 to 80,000 Tao crystals in front of him. Now that he had successfully returned to his primordial essence, even though he had yet to attain the void fragmentation realm, he could still barely absorb the power of the Tao crystals to increase his magic power. Ordinary void fragmentation realm and void fragmentation realm cultivators could increase their magic power by 1 Yuanhui by devouring 10 Tao crystals. The magic power of an ordinary first heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivator was between 50,000 to 100,000 Yuanhui. Ning Fan devoured all the Tao crystals and borrowed the abilities of his ancient divine aperture to increase his magic power by 2 times compared to ordinary people. In the blink of an eye, 40 years had passed. After Ning Fan had refined all the Tao crystals, his magic power had reached 75,500 Yuanhui. Now that his magic power had reached this level, it was a notch higher than ordinary first heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old monsters. Ning Fan inspected his own body and briefly sensed his current condition. At this moment, even though he had yet to attain the void fragmentation realm, his magic power was definitely unparalleled within the primordial essence returning realm. Even though he was still a cultivator at the primordial essence returning realm, he was slightly stronger than ordinary first heavenly layer realm old monsters. Ning Fan reckoned that if he were to face the 7th prince of the Rain Palace, Yun Jinghong, who was at the first heavenly layer realm, he would have a great chance of winning against him even if he did not use his trump cards or abilities. If he attains the void fragmentation realm, he would probably be unrivaled in the first heavenly layer as soon as he attains that level. I've already completed my primordial essence returning realm. Now, what I lack is just the void fragmentation realm. From the literal meaning of the words, void fragmentation realm is to allow a cultivator to break through the void. The word void doesn't refer to the void of external objects. In my opinion, it refers to the false and lost Tao in a cultivator's heart. Only by sweeping away these lost Tao can one attain the void fragmentation realm. Ning Fan had completely succeeded in his primordial essence returning realm. He closed his eyes, adjusting his breath and gathering his magic power while looking back at the path he had walked. His past in Wu country, his memories in Yu country, the massacre in the Endless Sea. All of these scenes gathered in his heart. When he looked back at the path he had walked would become his Tao. However, there were still some regrets that had yet to be resolved on this path. There were still some lost Tao. He started his journey from Wu country to Yu country. Step by step, the Tao he had walked on had turned into a circle. Vein opening, harmonious spirit, gold core, nascent soul, spirit severing, void refinement. Every step of cultivation was to complete this Tao circle. As for the void fragmentation realm, it was to break this Tao circle and surpass it. Even though the current Ning Fan had completed all the cultivation realms before the void fragmentation realm, he had yet to complete the Tao circle. There was still a crack on the Tao circle. Only by mending this crack could the circle be broken. In the past, Mu Weiliang in his previous life and Jihe in his current life were once lost in his heart. However, when he found Weiliang's 3 spiritual and 7 physical souls, that loss had turned into a firm belief to resurrect her. In the past, the lofty figure of Moksha's sovereign was once a loss in Ning Fan's heart. However, the current Ning Fan had walked step by step towards the peak of the first step of cultivation. He had the strength to fight equally with Moksha's sovereign. Thus, this loss was no longer a concern. The last loss in his heart was that he could not find his parents and fulfill his filial duty that he had not fulfilled. There is one thing that I am not as good as Tang Yuan. Tang Yuan is a human, while I have yet to become a complete human. My Tao has yet to be perfected. That's why I can't break through. Now, my magic power is more than enough to break through to the void fragmentation realm. However, the reason why I can't break through to the void fragmentation realm is because I have yet to resolve the last regret in my heart. After erasing this regret, the Tao circle can be completed and the void fragmentation realm is just around the corner. On the 7th floor of the pagoda, Ning Fan finally succeeded in his primordial essence returning realm after cultivating for 170 years and saw his own path to break through to the void fragmentation realm. He adjusted his breathing for a few months and stabilized his primordial returning realm. Then, he began to break through to the first grade rain intent. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out the fruit that the ancestral bamboo tree spirit had turned into. He swallowed it and began to refine it. This fruit was equivalent to 1,000 ancestral tree fruits. It was more than enough for Ning Fan's rain intent to break through to the first grade. The rain intent increased bit by bit. Ning Fan's body was surrounded by a faint sky-green rain intent. From the 3rd grade to the 2nd grade and then to the 1st grade, at the moment when the rain intent broke through to the 1st grade, Ning Fan's physical body suddenly disintegrated, turning into a drizzle that filled the sky. A 1st grade rain intent could even turn one's body into rain. There was no one in the rain world or the 9 worlds who could cultivate the rain intent to the 1st grade. There might be some in the 4 heavens but not many of them would go there. Moreover, those who have the 1st grade rain intent were at least immortals. The drizzle condensed again and turned into a white-robed young man. It was Ning Fan. Ning Fan clenched his fists tightly. With his current magic power and rain intent, he could certainly spread his spirit sense across the entire middle state if he used the heaven-peaking rain. Then, he could find his mother and resolve the last regret in his heart. After devouring the tree spirit fruit, Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out the ancestral bamboo of the bamboo palace and the ancestral vine of the vine palace. Both of them were supreme treasures of the wood element. If Ning Fan devours them, the wood element constitution of his minor 5 elements physique would certainly improve tremendously. Silly little brother, this ancestral bamboo and ancestral vine are rare supreme treasures of the wood element. If you devour them, I'm afraid your minor wood element physique will reach perfection in one go. Luo Yu's teasing laughter resounded in his mind. I hope so. Ning Fan shook his body and displayed an incarnation technique. He turned into a green insect and attached himself to the ancestral bamboo. Then, he began to devour it bit by bit. The incarnation of the green insect was something he found from the countless secret techniques of the Vine Palace. After transforming into this incarnation, the efficiency of devouring wood element spiritual items would greatly increase. His wood element physique was improving step by step and gradually approaching perfection. 2%, 3%, 4%, Ning Fan's minor 5 elements physique was improving bit by bit. His body refinement realm was also improving step by step. His late reckless devil realm ancient devil cultivation base was advancing step by step towards the peak reckless devil realm. Chapter 609. 170 years in the pagoda was only equivalent to 17 months in the outside world. During these 17 months, Ning Fan's name had already spread across the 9 worlds, killing the Vine Sovereign and destroying the Vine Hall. Many void fragmentation realm experts in the 9 worlds knew about Liu Bei's name. Those who were observant had already found out from various channels that the so-called Liu Bei was actually the same person as Marquis White Robe in the Rain world. In the Devil world, Moksha's sovereign who had just come out from his seclusion read the information in his hand. His eyes were extremely gloomy when he saw Ning Fan's portrait. He had already recognized that the young man in the portrait was the one who injured him with the strength of an ant more than 50 years ago. He was another disciple of old Devil Han. He recalled the young man's eyes, which were filled with unwillingness and determination when he was in Yu country. That young man had already made up his mind to take revenge on him for old Devil Han and was approaching him step by step. That young man could even kill the Vine Sovereign. It was enough to give him a sense of danger. There's no need to ask. Dao Yan, who I sent to the Rain World, must have died in his hands. I have underestimated him. Han Yuanji is in the Sword World. He has people from the Godly Void Pavilion protecting him, and there is also a powerful sword cultivator with a mysterious background who is secretly protecting him. All the assassins I sent to kill Han Yuanji have died in the Sword World. Han Yuanji is still struggling at death's door, while this Ning Fan has actually reached his current state step by step when I was being careless. Ning Fan. I can't let this young man continue to grow. Didn't he kill the Vine Sovereign? I know that she is the disciple of the sect master of the three worlds. Moksha Sovereign sneered and gave an order to the Dark Palace. Where are the 4 devil elders? I'm here. 4 masses of black mist suddenly appeared in the palace and turned into 4 black-robed old men. All of them were void fragmentation realm experts. The 4 of you, take my token and go to the 3 worlds sect in the Heaven Immortal World. What? To the Heaven Immortal World? The Devil World and the Heaven Immortal World have always been on bad terms. As cultivators of the Devil World, I'm afraid it will cause a lot of trouble if we go there without permission. The 4 devil elders said hesitantly. It doesn't matter. For better or worse, I'm a member of the White Devil sect. As long as you don't cause trouble in the Heaven Immortal Realm, those overcautious old fogies won't make things difficult for you. When you arrive at the 3 Realms sect, hand this jade slip to the 3 Realms sect leader. Tell him that I want to invite him to kill someone together. Furthermore, this emperor has a divination jade slip left behind by the White Demon sect. It can calculate this person's whereabouts. Moksha Sovereign smiled coldly. He was confident that he could kill Ning Fan. However, for the sake of caution, he still decided to ask the 3 Worlds sect to help him. If he joins forces with the 3 Worlds sect, Ning Fan will certainly die. It was best to nip the seeds of danger in the bud. Before Ning Fan left the Tree World, his greatest tribulation was brought upon by Moksha Sovereign and the 3 Worlds sect. Inside the dark golden pagoda, the green insect that Ning Fan had turned into was devouring the ancestral bamboo bit by bit. He did not know that Moksha Sovereign had already set up a great calamity for him. Even if he knew everything, he would not be afraid. He would not avoid the tribulation. He would only fight back and kill Moksha Sovereign instead. After devouring the ancestral bamboo, Ning Fan's wood elemental physique was close to perfection. After devouring the ancestral vine, Ning Fan's wood elemental physique reached perfection and his spirit sense received a great improvement. The green insect shook its body and turned back into Ning Fan, who was clad in white robes. After devouring the 2 great wood elemental treasures, the wood elemental physique in his little 5 physique was completely perfected. If all the minor 5 elemental physique are perfected, it would advance to the great 5 elemental physique. Even though he had only perfected 1 line of the minor 5 elemental physique, his ancient devil cultivation base had directly broken through to the peak reckless devil realm, advancing by an entire minor realm. When his ancient devil cultivation base reached the peak reckless devil realm, the strength of his physical body was even comparable to a body cultivator at the first heavenly layer of the nirvana realm. Moreover, after his wood elemental physique reached perfection, Ning Fan's physical body's defense against wood elemental magic techniques could be said to be heaven-defying. Ordinary wood cultivators at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm would not be able to harm Ning Fan at all with their wood elemental magic techniques. The minor 5 elemental physique was a special physique. The improvement of a special physique could often strengthen one's physical body. Every time the minor 5 elemental physique reached the perfection of a physique, the physical body would undergo a qualitative change. If Ning Fan could continue to perfect the other 4 elemental physiques, his physical body would become stronger step by step. Other than the great improvement of his physical body, Ning Fan's spirit sense had also improved tremendously. The origin-suppressing ancestral vine had the miraculous effect of improving a cultivator's spirit sense. Lu Huang had once said that if he devours the ancestral vine, his spirit sense could advance from the 5th heavenly layer to the 6th heavenly layer. After Ning Fan refined the entire ancestral vine, his spirit sense cultivation base advanced to the 1st heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm from the origin returning realm. Magic power, spirit sense, physical body. No matter which level one looked at it from, Ning Fan's strength had already surpassed the 1st heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. After devouring the 2 great wood elemental treasures, Ning Fan adjusted his breathing for a few months to stabilize the level of his physical body and spirit sense. After that, Ning Fan took out the few spiritual magic treasures that he took from the Vine Palace and studied them carefully. There were 2 magic treasures in total. One of them was called Leizhenzi. It was a magic treasure that looked like a silver pearl. It could only be used once. Once it is used, it would explode and release destructive lightning which could directly kill an old monster at the 2nd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. The other magic treasure was called Wind Steadying Flag. It was a low-grade immortal void realm defensive magic treasure. The magic treasure itself was not powerful, but it had a heaven-defying restraint against wind attribute abilities. Its effect was similar to the wind-steadying pearl. It was a supreme treasure that could withstand the wind tribulation of the void fragmentation realm. To Ning Fan, these 2 magic treasures were considered to be rather useful. There were also 2 spiritual equipment. One of them was called Flowing Light Ring. It was a mid-grade divine profound realm treasure. It had the ability to conceal oneself. It could hide one's body from the detection of a 5th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivator at most. The other spiritual equipment was called Longevity Lock. It was a golden lock pendant. It was a high-grade divine profound realm treasure. Its effect was to protect one's life once. With this lock protecting one's body, even if a 7th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivator attacks him, he would be able to protect his life once without suffering any damage. This lock was originally a life-saving item given to the Vine Sovereign by the sect leader of the 3 worlds. Unfortunately, the grade of this spiritual equipment was too high for the Vine Sovereign to refine. Ning Fan possessed the ancestral blood of the Fuli tribe. His blood contained a spirit. Even though he had yet to cultivate the spirit wheel, he was able to rely on the spirit in his bloodline to refine spiritual equipment that was at a higher level than his. The heaven-deceiving cloak was no longer enough to hide him in the void fragmentation realm. Ning Fan forced it out of his body and refined the flowing light ring to make it recognize him as its master. The longevity lock was a life-saving spiritual equipment. This kind of spiritual equipment was extremely precious. To Ning Fan, it could be said that he had an extra life. Thus, he naturally wanted to refine it and make it recognize him as its master. After refining the 2 spiritual equipment and making them recognize him as their master, Ning Fan adjusted his breathing for a few more months and began to do one last thing. He took out the ancient morning heavenly jade that he obtained from killing Wan Changkong and revealed a hesitant expression. This ancient morning heavenly jade once contained the inheritance of the Morning Death clan. However, this inheritance had already been inherited by Wan Changkong. It was unrealistic to rely on this jade to cultivate the Morning Death devil veins. The ancient jade contained a puppet thread of the Morning Ancestor. With this puppet thread, Ning Fan was 90% confident that he could refine the rogue devil into a living puppet and completely subdue it. Even though he was confident, he still had to consider the possibility of failing to subdue it. The best place to subdue a rogue devil was still the profound world. Even if he fails to subdue it, he would at most waste the puppet thread of the ancient morning heavenly jade. It would not allow the rogue devil to escape from the devil's sealing pouch. With a sway of his body, Ning Fan left the Yuanya world and entered the profound world. With a flick of his sleeve, he took out the storage pouch that sealed the rogue devil and took a deep breath. Luo Yu slowly walked out of the thatched cottage. As soon as she saw Ning Fan's action, she knew that he was going to subdue the rogue devil in the profound world. She did not say much. Instead, she walked to Ning Fan's side and gave him an enchanting smile. Do you need me to help you unseal the ancient jade? All right. Ning Fan nodded and handed the ancient morning heavenly jade to Luo Yu. Unsealing the ancient jade would consume a large amount of magic power. With Luo Yu doing it for him, he did not need to recover his magic power after unsealing the ancient jade. Luo Yu took the ancient morning heavenly jade. At first, she still had a charming expression on her face. However, as soon as her soft palm touched the ancient jade, she was immediately startled. It was clearly her first time seeing this incomplete piece of ancient jade. However, this special touch evoked another memory in her. She was born in the Luo clan and was the daughter of the clan leader. She had once seen a similar incomplete piece of ancient jade among her father's many treasures. That piece of ancient jade had always been treasured by her father. It was said that there was a huge secret hidden in that incomplete piece of jade. It was said that there were still a few more pieces of that kind of jade. Perhaps the incomplete piece of jade that Ning Fan obtained by chance was the same type of secret treasure as the one that her father had kept in his collection in the past. It is said that there is a huge secret hidden in this ancient jade. I once saw my father keeping a similar piece of ancient jade. With my father's identity, anything that he regards as a treasure is definitely not a trivial matter. Luo Yu's beautiful eyes revealed a hint of seriousness. Your father? Ning Fan was surprised. Then, he asked, what kind of huge secret is hidden in this jade? Is it related to the Morning Death clan? I don't know. After I unseal the morning ancestral puppet strings in the ancient morning heavenly jade, you must not throw this jade away. Keep it by your side and don't show it to others easily. Even though I don't know what kind of secret is hidden in this jade, it is most likely a supreme treasure. Luo Yu gave him a few reminders. Then, she sat cross-legged in the sky and began to unseal the ancient jade. Ning Fan did not disturb her. He quietly watched as the ancient jade was unsealed step by step. He watched as the ancient jade gradually emitted an extremely dangerous qi. He watched as Luo Yu drew out a silver thread from the ancient jade with a slightly pale face and tossed it into the sky. Immediately, it turned into a silver river. Use this thread to quickly subdue the rogue devil. I need to recuperate and heal my injuries immediately. Luo Yu did not say anything else. She immediately turned into a ray of traveling light and returned to the thatched cottage to recuperate in seclusion. Currently, she had recovered her second heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivation base. However, just unsealing the morning ancestral puppet strings had already caused her to suffer serious injuries. It was enough to show how powerful the morning ancestral puppet strings was. Ning Fan held the devil sealing pouch in his hand and leaped into the silver river in the sky. Then, he reached out his hand to grab it. The Milky Way immediately turned into a bright silver thread and landed in his palm. The thread that seemed as light as cotton was actually extremely heavy. It directly pressed Ning Fan down from the sky. Currently, Ning Fan's physical body was comparable to an old monster at the first heavenly layer of the Nirvana realm. His strength was so great that he could crush mountains and rivers within a million li with a stomp. However, even with his extraordinary strength, he couldn't move a mere puppet string at all. Not only him, even a rogue immortal would not be able to lift this puppet string. This was also the reason why Luo Yu summoned the puppet string into the sky and turned it into a silver river the moment she unsealed it. The string was too heavy. Even she could not lift it. This string is unwilling to submit to me. Thus, I won't move it. Holding the puppet string in his hand, Ning Fan fell from the sky. He gradually focused his mind and a black moon mark slowly appeared in his left eye. At this moment, he displayed the life imprisoning technique. At this moment, his body exuded a dignified aura that had experienced the vicissitudes of life, making him look like the ancestor of morning death. At this moment, the puppet string which was as heavy as a mountain immediately became light. It escaped from Ning Fan's palm and circled around him happily. It had submitted to Ning Fan's Black Moon divine ability. Ning Fan steadied his body in the sky and gradually calmed his breathing. He held the morning ancestor puppet string in his hand. The moment he held the string, he had a feeling. At this moment, he could severely injure any rogue immortal just by using the puppet string in his hand. The rogue devil in his storage pouch had its first heavenly layer cultivation base extracted by Ning Fan, leaving it with an 8th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivation base. The success rate of subduing the rogue devil was very high. After waiting for so many years, I will officially subdue you today. Open. At this moment, Ning Fan opened the devil's sealing pouch. At the moment the pouch was opened, an extremely arrogant and hideous laughter came from inside. Junior. Previously, you extracted my cultivation base. This time, I will tear you into pieces. Rumbled. A black shadow suddenly rushed out of the devil's sealing pouch, trying to enter the profound Een world to kill Ning Fan. However, an invisible force of the world stopped him from doing so. It was like an incomparably hard wall, causing him to let out a miserable cry and heavily collide with the force of the world. He was unable to escape. Despicable. Too despicable. You actually opened the devil's sealing pouch in this dimensional world again. I can't accept this if I can't get out. If you have the guts, come inside the devil's sealing pouch. I want to fight you for 500 rounds. If you have the guts, come inside and fight me. The rogue devil roared furiously. As you wish. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with a cold light. Holding the puppet string of the morning ancestor in his hand, his body turned into a ray of light and shot into the devil's sealing pouch. If he wants to subdue the rogue devil as his puppet, he must fight him face to face and suppress him with the puppet string of the morning ancestor. Ning Fan withdrew the ray of light and appeared in a space filled with devil mist. It was the internal space of the devil's sealing pouch. Behind this boundless space, a giant of black mist with 2 horns on his head stood proudly in the sky. He was none other than the rogue devil. Seeing that Ning Fan was not provoked and really entered the devil's sealing pouch, the rogue devil was overjoyed. He did not expect that Ning Fan would really do something stupid and enter the devil's sealing pouch to court death. When they met in the past, Ning Fan was just at the divine transformation realm. Now that they met again, Ning Fan was already at the returning origin Taishu realm. This slightly surprised the rogue devil, but he did not take it seriously. To him, even if Ning Fan's cultivation base was at the 5th or 6th destruction realm, it would not be difficult for him to kill him. The only thing that he was afraid of was that Ning Fan's ancestral blood was a little powerful. Previously, it actually drew away his first heavenly layer cultivation base despicably through the devil's sealing pouch. However, if it's a face-to-face battle, he was not afraid of Ning Fan's ancestral blood at all. Ha! I really didn't expect it. I really didn't expect that you would really come in here to court death. Ha ha ha. The rogue devil let out a loud laugh. He raised his hand and sent out countless traces of devil chi which turned into rays of devil light, sealing all the exits of the devil's sealing pouch. He was not prepared to give Ning Fan any chance to escape. Ha! How about we make a deal? If you are willing to let me plant a restrictive spell on you, become my slave and let me out of this damned devil's sealing pouch, I can spare your life. Ning Fan did not say much. You aren't willing. You are actually unwilling. Do you know that I can pinch you to death with just a flick of my finger? I will count to 3. If you don't let me out of here, I will peel off your skin, scrape your bones and swallow you alive. 1. 2. The rogue devil's expression was extremely arrogant. From his point of view, Ning Fan was already a lamb from the moment he entered the devil's sealing pouch. He could do whatever he wanted to him. Before he could finish counting to 3, he suddenly saw Ning Fan raise his right hand. He was holding a thin and weak silver thread and gently waved it at him. That silver thread that was as light as a feather did not seem to have any destructive power. However, the moment Ning Fan waved the silver thread, it immediately landed heavily on the rogue devil's chest. All of a sudden, the rogue devil had an illusion. What hit him was not a thin thread but a galaxy that filled the entire sky and 100,000 stars. Ah! In just a single strike, the rogue devil was caught off guard. He was directly hit to the point where he coughed out blood and fell from the sky. His eyes were filled with fear. He could feel a sense of danger from that silver thread. What kind of damn thread is this? What kind of damn thread is this? Chapter 6:10. No one knew what kind of great battle had taken place inside the pouch. 3 days later, Ning Fan turned into a wisp of smoke and floated out of the pouch. His face was as pale as a piece of paper. He had lost a lot of blood essence and his eyes were filled with worry. Have you successfully subdued the rogue devil? Luo Yu asked with concern. More or less. However, Ning Fan sighed softly and tied the pouch to his waist without saying anything else. Luo Yu did not ask any more questions either. He stayed in the profound Yin world to recuperate for a few days. After he had fully recovered, he returned to the outside world. Standing in the cave dwelling, Ning Fan remained silent for a long time. Then, he suddenly patted the pouch. As he did so, a cloud of stinky black qi immediately flew out of the pouch. The black qi condensed and turned into a bald burly man in black armor. His eyes were dull and empty, but his body was surrounded by the aura force of an 8th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm expert. The moment the burly man appeared, his body gave off an extremely dense baleful qi. He took a step forward and approached Ning Fan with a hint of arrogance. Ning Fan did not say much. He pointed his right index finger and a silver line immediately appeared and coiled around his finger. The moment the silver line appeared, the burly man in black armor showed an extremely painful expression. He groaned and knelt on the ground. The body of the bald burly man glowed faintly with golden swastika characters and there was a silver line flowing inside his body. If someone could see through the burly man's body, they would certainly find that his immortal veins, flesh, internal organs and primordial spirit were all penetrated by the silver line. Ning Fan looked at the bald burly man deeply inside. The bald burly man was the rogue devil who had been refined into a living puppet by the Morning Ancestor puppet string. The Morning Ancestor was the ancestral emperor of the Northern Heaven. His puppet string was extremely powerful. With just this string, Ning Fan was able to subdue the rogue devil. Even though the rogue devil had already been subdued, the process was not perfect. The rogue devil was also considered a ferocious being. When he was in danger, he risked everything and forcefully created a crack on the Morning Ancestor puppet string. He was a living puppet which retained his consciousness. He was unwilling to become Ning Fan's puppet. Ning Fan could only control the rogue devil's body like controlling a marionette. Besides, he had to borrow the power of the Morning Ancestor puppet string to make the rogue devil temporarily submit to him. Every time the puppet string was activated, the scattered devil would submit once, and the cracks on the puppet string would increase a little. Once the cracks reached a certain level, the puppet strings would break. At that time, the rogue devil would break free from the restraint of the puppet strings and devour him. 3 times, Ning Fan frowned. According to his estimation, the rogue devil could only help him 3 times at most. Then, it would break the puppet strings and break free from his control. He looked at the devil kneeling in front of him. When their gazes met, he seemed to be able to hear the devil's sinister laughter in the depths of his heart. Junior. If I can break free from the puppet strings one day, I will definitely tear you to pieces. Ning Fan's eyes flickered. He kept the rogue devil into the devil's sealing pouch and muttered to himself. I won't give you the chance to devour me. If there was a problem with the puppet string, the loose devil could only use it 3 times at most. In the future, unless it is a critical moment, he would try his best not to use the rogue devil. Although the loose demon can only be used 3 times, it is enough to become one of my trump cards. With the loose demon here, even if the 3 worlds sect really does attack me, I will not be afraid. I have stayed in the tree world for long enough. It's about time for me to return to the rain world. Ning Fan waved his sleeve and summoned Ting Xianrou and Qing Dai from the cauldron world and the umbrella world respectively. Ting Xianrou greets my lord, Qing Dai greets your majesty tree sovereign. As soon as Qing Dai saw Ning Fan, she immediately bowed respectfully. Her eyes were filled with gratitude when she looked at Ning Fan. She was grateful to Ning Fan for killing Wan Changkong and avenging the Nether Luo clan. When she addressed him as Tree Sovereign, her tone was 90% respectful and there was also an indescribable feeling. Ting Xianrou's eyes were filled with respect when she looked at Ning Fan. Ning Fan did not hide the death of the Vine Sovereign and Wan Changkong from her. He had already told her everything. When she thought about how even the Vine Sovereign and Wan Changkong, who were formidable figures in the tree world, died in Ning Fan's hands, Ting Xianrou's palms became sweaty. She secretly studied Ning Fan's facial features. She still found it hard to believe that this seemingly ordinary young man in front of her was actually so strong. "Am I good-looking?" Ning Fan teased Ting Xianrou. "I didn't even look at you. How would I know?" Ting Xianrou shifted her gaze away while saying "good-looking" inwardly. All of a sudden, Ting Xianrou recalled the past when she dual-cultivated with Ning Fan's Sea of Consciousness. Her cheeks immediately turned as red as fire. "The reason why I called you out today is because I have something to tell you. I am a cultivator of the Rain World. My real name is Ning Fan. I will be returning to the Rain World soon." Ning Fan said smilingly. "So Lord Tree Sovereign's surname is Ning." Qing Dai seemed to have thought of something and her face turned slightly red. "So you are a cultivator of the Rain World?" Ting Xianrou nodded. She had long been curious since when did someone like Ning Fan appear in the tree world. So he came from the Rain World. Suddenly, as if she thought of something, Ting Xianrou stared at Ning Fan in disbelief and stammered, "Could it be? Could it be that you are Sui of the Rain World?" "Oh. You have heard of the name of my Rain World?" Ning Fan was slightly surprised. I have heard a little about it." Ting Xianrou stammered. The news of the Rain World's Pill Sovereign attaining the 7th Revolution Pill Refinement Realm had spread far and wide. Almost every Void Fragmentation Realm cultivator in the 9 worlds knew about it. The Vine Sovereign had carefully investigated the Pill Sovereign's background and found out that the Pill Sovereign did not have anyone close to him. He only had a junior whom he regarded as his disciple, Marquis White Robe of the Rain World. The Vine Sovereign had once jokingly told the cultivators of the Vine Palace that if they need the Pill Sovereign to concoct pills for them one day but the Pill Sovereign refuses to comply, they could capture this junior of the Pill Sovereign and use him to threaten the Pill Sovereign. After all, Sui of the Rain World was just a Void Refinement Realm cultivator. Naturally, he would not be taken seriously by a big shot like the Vine Sovereign. Who would have thought that the North Tree Sovereign who shook the entire tree world was actually the unknown Marquis White Robe of the Rain World? However, there was one thing that Ting Xianrou did not understand. Why did Ning Fan tell her all these things? Ning Fan answered with a smile as if he could see through her thoughts with just a glance. "I don't have the habit of lying to my own people. Alright, it's time to return to the Rain World. You two don't need to show yourselves on the way. I will open the passage to the Rain World by myself." Ning Fan flicked his sleeve and summoned the 2 ladies into his Cauldron World and Umbrella World. As his cultivation base improved, he could already read the thoughts of Void Fragmentation Realm female cultivators using the mind-reading technique. Qing Dai returned to the Umbrella World. Her face was still slightly flushed. From Ning Fan's words, she knew that he regarded her as one of his own. Thus, he did not hide anything from her, which made her feel happy. Ting Xianrou, on the other hand, let out a sigh with mixed feelings. One of our own. It was very strange. After knowing that she was about to leave the tree world, she actually did not feel as reluctant as she expected. On the contrary, she actually looked forward to following Ning Fan to the Rain World. Her current identity was Ning Fan's slave. To her surprise, she realized that she was gradually getting used to this identity. Such an identity seemed to be more relaxing and happier than the identity of the Palace Lord of the Purple Vine Palace. After summoning the 2 ladies back, Ning Fan took out the jade slip of the Rain Gate that the Rain Sovereign gave him and performed a technique to open the passage to the Rain World. It was not an easy task to open the rain gate that connected the two worlds. Ning Fan was not an expert at the level of the Vine Sovereign or Old Monster Tian Fei. Even if he had the jade slip with him, he could not open the passage to the rain world with just a wave of his hand. When he came to the tree world from the rain world, Ning Fan spent a month to open the passage to the rain gate that connected the two worlds. Now that he had returned, his strength had improved tremendously. He would need at most 7 days to open the rain gate. Day after day, the rain gate took shape bit by bit and the passage to the rain world opened bit by bit. However, Ning Fan's heart began to feel uneasy. 7 days later, the rain gate appeared. At the peak of the tree mountain, a gigantic heavenly green light gate slowly opened. Ning Fan stood in front of the light gate and looked around with a thoughtful expression. As soon as the gigantic rain gate appeared, the uneasiness in Ning Fan's heart gradually increased. He did not say much. With a flash of his body, he stepped into the passage. The moment he stepped into it, the light gate gradually closed and disappeared. The passage stretched across the hollow space and was surrounded by the heavenly green light. It led directly to the rain world. If he continues on this path, he would be able to return to the middle province of the rain world. Ning Fan turned into a ray of traveling light and sped towards the rain world. He had been traveling for 5 consecutive days and he had already covered more than half of the distance. On the 6th day, a massive spatial fluctuation suddenly appeared in front and behind of the passage. 2 gigantic gates suddenly appeared in front of Ning Fan, blocking all of his paths of retreat. One of the 2 gates was the Golden Gate while the other was the White Bone Gate. The Golden Gate was at the back while the White Bone Gate was at the front. A ray of red light flew out from the Golden Gate and landed on the ground, turning into an old monster with red feathers. He was none other than Old Monster Tian Qian of the Three Worlds sect. 4 old men shrouded in black mist walked out from the ancient gate. Each of them had a cultivation base at the 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. The robes of these 4 old men were embroidered with the same pattern. Ning Fan had seen this pattern once before. When he was in the Endless Sea in the past, he was once hunted by Dao Yen. That Dao Yen had this pattern on his body. It was the identification of the cultivators of the Nirvana Palace in the Devil World. Ning Fan's cold eyes swept across Old Monster Tian Qian and the 4 old men shrouded in black mist. His killing intent surged. He had guessed that the Three Worlds sect would come to deal with him. However, he did not expect that Moksha Sovereign's men would also ambush him here. The 4 old men shrouded in black mist were none other than the 4 devil elders under Moksha Sovereign. When Ning Fan's gaze swept across them, Old Monster Tian Qian and the 4 old men shrouded in black mist took 3 steps back. They took out their magic treasures and stared at Ning Fan coldly as if they were facing a formidable enemy. Even though Ning Fan was not a void fragmentation realm cultivator yet, the fact that he could even kill the Vine Sovereign was enough for Tian Qian and the 4 devil elders to view him as a tiger. Liu Bei, no. I should call you Su Yi of the Rain World. Ning Fan. My Three Worlds sect has already joined hands with the Nirvana Palace of the Devil World. Now, all of our experts have come out. Even if you have the protection of your 5 broken spiritual pets, you will certainly die in this endless world. Old Monster Tian Qian sneered and clapped his hands. Suddenly, 6 to 7 light doors appeared in all directions and thousands of assassins emerged from them. Among them, the weakest ones were Divine Transformation Realm cultivators. There were more than 200 Void Refinement Realm cultivators and more than 10 Void Fragmentation Realm Old Monsters. This was an assassination that had been planned for a long time. The assassins that were sent out were all elites. If they were not elites, how could they deal with Ning Fan? Ning Fan could even kill the Vine Sovereign. To an expert at his level, cultivators below the Divine Transformation Realm did not even have the right to stand beside him with a clear mind. Kill. As soon as Old Monster Tian Qian gave the order, 1,000 Divine Transformation Realm kamikaze warriors immediately formed hand seals. Each of them was shrouded in blood-red light and charged at Ning Fan. When they were 10,000 zhang away from Ning Fan, they activated their magic arts and self-detonated their bodies. The magic technique that these 1,000 Divine Transformation Realm cultivators used was called the Blood Loss Technique. It was a type of suicidal magic technique. When early Divine Transformation Realm cultivators used the Blood Loss Technique to self-detonate, even late Divine Transformation Realm cultivators might die from the explosion. 1,000 Divine Transformation Realm cultivators directly self-detonated without any fear of death. When 1,000 Divine Transformation Realm cultivators used the Blood Loss Technique at the same time, the sky was filled with blood-red light that could even blast a first heavenly layer Void Fragmentation Realm cultivator to death. At the moment when 1,000 of them self-detonated, the remaining Divine Transformation Realm cultivators stood in their respective formations and formed the ultimate killing formation. 200 Void Refinement Realm cultivators, whether they were from the Three Worlds sect or the Nirvana Palace, each of them was a top-notch assassin. They also formed the second layer of the ultimate killing formation. Including Old Monster Tian Qian and the 4 Devil Elders, there were a total of 17 Void Fragmentation Realm Old Monsters in this place. 8 of them broke the first layer, 4 of them broke the second layer, 4 of them broke the third layer and 1 of them broke the 5th layer. The 17 Void Fragmentation Realm Old Monsters did not attack on their own. Instead, they worked together and formed the third layer of the ultimate killing formation. With the combination of the 3 layers of the ultimate killing formation, even a 6th or 7th heavenly layer Void Fragmentation Realm Old Monster would not be able to escape death. Facing the joint attack of the group of cultivators, Ning Fan did not hesitate at all. He took a step forward and turned into black robes. Then, he raised his hand and drew out the Earth Void Soul. Sovereign Qi rose around his body. His magic power was already comparable to an old monster at the first heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. After displaying the Incarnation Technique and the Soul Extraction Technique, his magic power was comparable to a second heavenly layer Void Fragmentation Realm cultivator. He lifted one of his fingers and the hollow space in all directions shattered. 1,000,000 small void swords swept across the vast sky, shattering all the blood-red light that was produced by the self-detonation of 1,000 Divine Transformation Realm cultivators. At the same time, Ning Fan turned into a trace of purple golden wind and mist, drifting towards the outside of the 3 layers of the ultimate killing formation. The first layer of the formation that was guarded by 3,000 Divine Transformation Realm cultivators was immediately eroded. The second layer of the formation that was guarded by 200 Void Refinement Realm cultivators only lasted for half a breath's time before it turned into ashes. Ning Fan appeared in front of the third layer of the formation. He pressed one of his fingers and a trace of purple golden wind and mist coiled around his finger. The third layer of the formation was guarded by 17 Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators. However, as Ning Fan pointed his finger at it, the 17 Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators simultaneously felt that the grand formation was showing signs of collapsing. Even though the 17 of them acted at the same time and suppressed the collapse of the formation, all of their magic power was being consumed rapidly to maintain the formation from being extinguished. The 17 of them were at a disadvantage when they tried to kill Ning Fan with the formation. Purple light flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. He flicked his finger repeatedly and the golden purple wind and mist burst out. The third layer of the formation immediately turned into ashes and disappeared. Even though none of the 17 Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators were injured, they were forced to take a few steps back by the formation-breaking force. Their eyes were filled with astonishment. If Ning Fan broke the formation using the 5 Evil Separation Technique, they would not be surprised. However, Ning Fan actually used a strange golden purple wind and mist to break the 3 layers of the formation. It really made these old monsters feel a little incredulous. Ning Fan took a deep breath. He knew that with his current strength, he still could not fight against so many Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters. He shook his cauldron ring. With a flash of light, a gigantic purple-eyed peacock slowly appeared under Ning Fan's feet. It was none other than the Purple Eye's Evil Separation Technique. He flicked his sleeve again and 600 Void Inquiry Stage spiritual puppets that were standing in midair immediately appeared in the sky. Ting Xianrou and the 5 evil spirits of the heavenly tribulation appeared one after another. Emperor Xia's sword then appeared in Ning Fan's right hand. Zili, go and kill those few people. Leave the rest to me. Ning Fan leaped down from evil separation technique's head and pointed his sword at old monster Tian Qian and the 4 devil elders. Shriek. The purple eyes evil separation technique chirped obediently. She flapped her wings and a strong demonic wind blew away all the cultivators who were blocking her way. She dashed straight into the battle between old monster Tian Qian and the 4 devil elders. Tian Qian and the 4 devil elders immediately reacted as if they were facing a formidable enemy. Tian Qian and the others knew that this evil separation technique was most likely the culprit who killed the Vine Sovereign. Even though the outside world had heard rumors that Ning Fan had killed the Vine Sovereign, they also knew that Ning Fan relied on the 5 evil separation technique to kill the Vine Sovereign. The strength of Ning Fan's true body had yet to reach the void fragmentation realm. It was far from enough to fight against the Vine Sovereign. However, the strength of the 5 evil separation technique was not even comparable to an ordinary 6 evil separation technique cultivator. If everyone can help me subdue this evil separation technique, I will definitely reward you handsomely. Old monster Tian Qian laughed heartily. His attitude towards capturing and devouring this evil separation technique was firm. All right. The 4 devil elders agreed without hesitation. They did not go to kill Ning Fan. Killing the evil separation technique was their priority. The 600 Void Inquiry stage spiritual puppets went on a frenzied killing spree among the Divine Transformation Realm and Void Refinement Realm cultivators. Ting Xianrou and the Heavenly Tribulation 5 evil separation technique cultivators fought against the 8 evil separation technique cultivators. Relying on the strength of the 5 evil separation technique cultivators, they were actually on par with each other. Ning Fan was dressed in black robes. His black hair danced wildly in the wind. Holding Emperor Xia's sword in his hand, he dashed towards the 4 evil separation technique cultivators. Among the 4 evil separation technique cultivators, 3 of them were cultivators of the 3 Worlds sect and 1 of them was a cultivator of the Nirvana Palace. The cultivator of the Nirvana Palace who was at the 2nd heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm was called Yen Sovereign. Even though his cultivation level was not as high as the 4 devil elders of the Nirvana Palace, his innate potential was much higher than theirs. This person had already cultivated a trace of sovereign qi when he was at the Void Fragmentation Realm. After that, he was heavily nurtured by the Nirvana Palace. This person had a nephew whose name was Dao Yen. He was the devil general who was sent to assassinate Ning Fan in the past. Emperor Yen had already learned from Moksha's sovereign that Ning Fan was probably the one who killed Dao Yen. When Emperor Yen saw Ning Fan charging at him with a sword in his hand, killing intent flashed across his eyes. In a flash, he left the 3 Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators of the 3 Worlds sect and raised his palm to strike at Ning Fan from afar. No one is allowed to interfere. I want to kill this brat myself. It doesn't matter. We don't need to do anything at all. With Emperor Yan's help, this brat will die for sure. The 3 Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators of the 3 Worlds sect looked at Ning Fan with disdain. What they were afraid of was the 5 evil separation technique, not Ning Fan who was merely a Gue Yuan Taishu stage cultivator. As soon as Emperor Yen struck him with his palm, black mist immediately spread across the world passage and turned into a gigantic black turtle. It opened its gigantic mouth and swallowed Ning Fan into its abdomen. As soon as he was swallowed by the gigantic turtle, Ning Fan immediately lost control of his mind and fell into layers of illusions. However, when Ning Fan punched his chest and blood trickled out from the corner of his mouth, those illusions immediately dissipated. For a ruthless and decisive cultivator with a heart of stone, illusions were nothing to be afraid of. When Sovereign Yen saw that his illusion technique was broken, he let out a cold harumph. He patted his storage pouch and prepared to use his natal magic treasure to attack Ning Fan. Ning Fan, however, did not give the Yen Sovereign the chance to do so. He raised his hand and summoned a silver lightning bead. It was a crystalline pearl with a dragon-shaped bolt of silver lightning sealed within it. As soon as it rose into the air, it immediately transformed into a flash of silver light that struck toward Emperor Yan's chest. Sovereign Yan harumphed coldly. It did not pay much attention to this small silver bead. It only knew that it was a mortal void magic treasure. The expressions of the three void fragmentation realm experts of the three worlds sect greatly changed. They recognized that silver pearl. This was a secret magical treasure of the three realms sect. It was called the Thunder Pulse, and only the sect leader knew how to make it. Each thunder shock seed could only be used once. Once it was used, even a cultivator at the second heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm could be killed instantly. The three of them wanted to help Emperor Yan, but they didn't dare to help Emperor Yan block Lei Zhenzi, so they could only warn him anxiously. Emperor Yan, watch out. That thunder pearl was powerful. Retreat quickly. What did you say? Emperor Yan had just taken out a red brush magic treasure. Before he could display his ability, he heard the warning of the three void fragmentation realm experts and asked in confusion. Before he could finish his question, that Lei Zhenzi had already reached a distance of 100 zhang away, giving off destructive lightning might. It was only at this moment that Emperor Yan sensed the danger of certain death from the Lei Zhenzi. In great shock, he quickly summoned his red brush magic treasure and retreated. That red brush magic treasure was also considered as a rather impressive magic treasure. However, it was actually turned into dust after being struck by the Lei Zhenzi. This. What kind of pearl is this? Its power is actually so terrifying. Emperor Yan used a void teleportation and directly escaped 2 million li away. However, that Lei Zhenzi traveled across the distance of 2 million li in the blink of an eye and exploded on Emperor Yan's chest. The treasured pearl was shattered and the lightning dragon exploded. Emperor Yan was immediately engulfed by a sea of lightning. He let out a miserable shriek and died within the sea of lightning. As soon as Emperor Yan died, Ning Fan approached them with his sword. He raised his hand and summoned another 3 silver lightning pearls, attacking the 3 void fragmentation realm experts of the three worlds sect. Having learned their lesson from what happened to Emperor Yan, how would the 3 of them dare to resist the lightning pearls? While summoning their defensive magic treasures, they retreated in different directions. Why does this young man have so many Lei Zhenzi? The 3 of them were terrified. They did not have much confidence in blocking the Lei Zhenzi. Lei Zhenzi was too famous. He could even kill a second void fragmentation realm cultivator in an instant. From their point of view, even if they use all their magic treasures, they might not necessarily be able to block the destructive power of the Lei Zhenzi. However, what they did not expect was that their defensive magic treasures easily blocked the attacks of the 3 lightning pearls without any effort. It's fake. This isn't the Lei Zhenzi. The 3 old monsters were a little angry from embarrassment. They were deceived by Ning Fan. The 3 lightning pearls that he shot out this time were not Lei Zhenzi. They were just ordinary pearls that contained some lightning power. The 3 dignified second heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old monsters were actually frightened by 3 ordinary pearls and fled in panic. It could be said that they had lost all their dignity. Just as the 3 of them were about to kill Ning Fan to vent their anger, they suddenly realized that Ning Fan had already disappeared without a trace. They focused on defending against the fake Lei Zhenzi. Thus, they naturally did not notice that Ning Fan had immediately used the flowing light ring to conceal himself after summoning the 3 fake Lei Zhenzi. The flowing light ring was a mid-grade profound divinity spiritual equipment that could make one invisible. Once the owner of this item becomes invisible, even a 5th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivator would not be able to detect where he is hiding. Before the 3 of them could find Ning Fan's whereabouts, a ray of light suddenly flashed behind one of them and the figure of a young man in black robes appeared. The young man held the golden sword in his hand. Without saying a word, he directly swung the sword at the old monster's head. With just a single slash, the old monster was split into 2 halves. With a flick of the sword light, the primordial spirit of the old monster was picked out and swallowed into his stomach. Then, he took away his storage pouch. There are 2 left. Ning Fan took a step forward and concealed himself again. The two Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters immediately felt their scalps go numb. Ning Fan had already used all his trump cards in just a single encounter and killed two Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters in a row. It was really a little scary. At this moment, if they still treat Ning Fan as an ant of the absolute void stage, they would really have lived for tens of thousands of years in vain. The two of them gathered together and no longer dared to take even half a step away from each other. One of them held a magic treasure to defend against Ning Fan's sudden attacks. The other one displayed a secret technique to break Ning Fan's invisibility, trying to break his concealment. Just as the two of them were carefully searching for Ning Fan's whereabouts, they suddenly heard a miserable scream coming from the battle of the Void Fragmentation Realm. Ning Fan suddenly appeared in the battle of the Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators. He raised his hand and swung his sword, killing an old monster of the Nirvana Palace who was at the first heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm and devouring his primordial spirit. The third one. Ning Fan's magic power was much stronger than before. He had only used 1/3 of his magic power to make 2 consecutive slashes. He raised his hand and summoned the Emperor Xia sword. Then, he activated the flying sword technique, causing the sword to split into 3 golden sword shadows and swept across the sky. Immediately, he took the lives of 3 Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators. The 6th one. Ning Fan had already used up more than half of his magic power to kill 6 Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators in a row. The remaining 5 Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters looked at Ning Fan as if they were looking at a ghost. Their eyes were filled with fear. Who would have thought that Ning Fan would be able to kill 6 Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters in a short period of time even without Niali's help? However, even after killing 6 of them, the uneasiness in Ning Fan's heart did not reduce at all. Not only did it not reduce, but it was also increasing rapidly. When that uneasiness reached its peak, a gigantic door of light suddenly appeared in the sky. 2 figures slowly walked out of the door. One of them was a middle-aged man in black armor while the other one was an elderly man in golden robes. Without a doubt, the middle-aged man in black armor was Moksha's sovereign while the elderly man in golden robes was the sect master of the 3 worlds. The two of them were not slow in showing themselves. However, when they saw the situation of the battlefield and realized that 6 Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators on their side had already died, their expressions turned grim. Han Nietian. The moment Ning Fan saw the middle-aged man in black armor, the killing intent in his eyes intensified. Seeing the killing intent in Ning Fan's eyes, Moksha's sovereign made up his mind to kill Ning Fan today even though he did not say it out loud. Let's act according to the original plan. Sect Master will kill Niali while I will kill Ning Fan. Moksha's sovereign said coldly. Alright. Spatial Vortex Technique. The sect master of the 3 worlds waved his hand. A gigantic golden vortex suddenly appeared on the world passage, sucking Ning Fan and Moksha's sovereign into it. Not good. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. At this moment, he was not worried about himself but Niali and Ting Xianro who were in the outside world. Chapter 611. The spatial vortex technique was the proud technique of the past sect masters of the 3 worlds. It directly sealed Ning Fan and Moksha's sovereign into a golden world. The reason why Moksha's sovereign was sealed inside it was just to give Moksha's sovereign a chance to kill Ning Fan personally. In the golden world, Ning Fan and Moksha's sovereign were facing each other on a golden continent. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with unimaginable coldness. His enemy was right in front of him, and that was the motivation for him to fight day and night. Moksha's sovereign's figure, which was once unreachable, had always been Ning Fan's goal and imaginary enemy. He raised Emperor Xia's sword and pointed it at Moksha Emperor. His killing intent had already reached its peak. However, a moment later, his gaze towards Moksha Emperor suddenly revealed a hint of disappointment. Is it just a divine clone? Ning Fan gradually realized that the Moksha sovereign in front of him was not his true body. Instead, it was an existence similar to his clone. Oh. Your eyesight isn't bad, but this isn't my avatar, it's one of the 3 nirvana bodies. All 3 bodies are the emperor, and there is no distinction between them. Only when all 3 bodies are destroyed will the emperor fall. This is my current body. Moksha's sovereign squinted his eyes, emitting a dangerous aura. 3 nirvanic bodies. My current body. Only when all 3 of my bodies are destroyed will I fall. Ning Fan's eyes glinted with cold light again and said indifferently. In other words, killing this body of yours isn't a useless move. Instead, it's very meaningful, right? Ha ha ha. Moksha's sovereign laughed out loud as if he had heard something funny. He cultivated the nirvana devil veins and cultivated 3 nirvana bodies. If all 3 bodies died, he would truly die. This body was one of the 3. If it died, it would never be able to recover. If all 3 bodies were destroyed, Moksha's sovereign's existence would be erased. If Ning Fan could kill his current body, it would certainly cause him great harm. Unfortunately, Moksha's sovereign did not think that Ning Fan had the ability to do so at all. A mere Guiyuan Taishu, no matter how heaven-defying he was, would not be a match for him. Ning Fan, I'm really surprised. It has only been 50 years or so and you've actually managed to reach this stage. Just what kind of heavenly treasure did Han Yuanji leave behind for you to allow you to cultivate so quickly? This emperor is really envious. Han Yuanji is still so biased. Moksha's sovereign's idea seemed reasonable, but in reality, it was ridiculous. In his opinion, Ning Fan's fast cultivation speed was naturally because of the old monster's all-out help. Unbeknownst to him, the old monster had never given Ning Fan's any help. He didn't teach Ning Fan's profound techniques, nor did he give Ning Fan's high-rank Dao fruits or pills. He only did one thing, and that was to teach Ning Fan's the true evil Dao. When Ning Fan heard Moksha's sovereign mentioning his master, his eyes turned cold. He did not want to talk to Moksha's sovereign anymore. His biggest regret today was that the 3 bodies of Moksha's sovereign were not complete. Otherwise, he would have died here. No matter what, Moksha's sovereign was one of his 3 bodies. Ning Fan would certainly make one of them die here. Moksha's sovereign's eyes turned cold. With a sway of his body, he transformed into a 10,000 feet tall black-armored giant. It was exactly the appearance he had when he descended to Yu country. The black-armored giant raised his finger and sneered, "Junior, if you didn't possess the sword chi gifted by the godly Void Pavilion back then, do you think you could hurt this emperor? You are just an ant." Void technique, white bone finger. The black-armored giant pointed his finger. Devil flames soared into the sky, condensing into a burning white bone finger that stretched for 100 li. In the past, Ning Fan had used the sword ancestor's sword chi to break this finger. At that time, he could not even withstand the chi of this finger. Even now, he still could not completely resist the destructive power of this finger. However, it was absolutely impossible for him to yield to this finger. This white bone finger was born from fire. The only thing that Ning Fan could think of to break this fire was the steel of sun and moon. He kept Emperor Xia's sword and activated the yin-yang locket. Then, he raised his hand and summoned the shadow of a giant steel. The shadow of the steel divided into 10 and then into 100. In an instant, it turned into a giant shadow of the sun and moon. It rose up against the heavens and collided with the giant white bone finger. With Ning Fan's current cultivation base, it was difficult for him to withstand the attack of the 5 sovereigns. However, by relying on the steel of sun and moon's ability to restrain fire and his current second heavenly layer void fragmentation realm magic power, he was able to withstand the attack of Moksha's sovereign's fire finger. Under the bombardment of the sun and moon, the white bone fire finger gradually extinguished and eventually disappeared without a trace. Moksha's sovereign's eyes turned gloomy. He would not be mistaken. Ning Fan had accurately blocked his attack with his own ability. He has yet to attain the void fragmentation realm, but he managed to block my attack. Han Yuanji is really biased. He actually imparted such a powerful fire-restraining ability to him instead of me. Moksha's sovereign's killing intent intensified as jealousy rose in his heart. He bit his finger bone and summoned 100,000 gold core realm devil soldiers with a wave of his finger. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with disdain. He also bit his finger bone and summoned 6 million devil soldiers with a wave of his finger. The devil soldiers of both parties engaged in a fierce battle. In just an instant, Ning Fan's devil soldiers annihilated all of the 100,000 devil soldiers summoned by Moksha's sovereign. How is this possible? Not only have you mastered the weapon refining technique of crushing bones, but you can also use this technique to such a perfect level. It must be Han Yuanji who taught you this technique. It must be him. Moksha's sovereign was indeed hopeless. In his eyes, the White Devil sect and the Black Devil sect were the strongest forces, while the Old Devil and the sect master of the White Devil sect were peerless experts. Their abilities were the strongest magic techniques in the world. Moksha's sovereign, on the other hand, did not know that Ning Fan's steel technique of sun and moon was the divine ability of Great Emperor Ancient Chaos. As for the weapon transformation technique, he learned it from Immortal Emperor Mo Zhong. The old monster had never been biased towards Ning Fan. It was Moksha's sovereign himself who couldn't figure it out. Moksha's sovereign's expression turned even colder. This time, he was going to be serious. He wouldn't go easy on Qin Wendian anymore. He exited his giant form and turned back into the black-clothed middle-aged man. He bent his palm, and wisps of extremely strange gray gas immediately appeared in the center of his palm, swirling around it. With every rotation of the gray gas, the surrounding air became colder. This was an ice supernatural ability that came from the White Demon sect. Its name was the Revolving Will technique. The gray energy rotated, it could reflect all attacks, and it had the power to tear apart the 5 emperors. This is the Revolving Will technique. It has a total of 18 levels, and I have already cultivated it to the 14th level. The 6 will art could instantly kill 3, the 9 will art could instantly kill 4, and the 12 will art could instantly kill 5. You can't take this art. Yes, I can't take it. Ning Fan didn't show any dispirited expression. If he couldn't take it, then he couldn't. This was one of Moksha's sovereign's strongest abilities. Naturally, it was very powerful. Ning Fan didn't have the same cultivation level as Moksha's sovereign yet, so it wasn't strange that he couldn't take it. However, it didn't mean that no one could. If the righteous path couldn't be taken, then it would be taken. If the tough path couldn't be taken, then it would be soft. If the yang path couldn't be taken, then it would be yin. What this old man imparted to Ning Fan wasn't the Tao of cultivation, but the Tao of devil. As a devil cultivator, even if his cultivation level was lower than others, he might not necessarily lose. 12 will art. Moksha's sovereign pointed his finger. Countless wisps of gray chi coiled towards Ning Fan like dragons. With a radius of 10,000 zhang. They revolved violently around Ning Fan, forming gray rings that trapped Ning Fan within. A total of 12 gray rings trapped Ning Fan within. The tearing wind formed by the 12 gray rings was enough to tear Ning Fan into pieces. Within 3 breaths, you will die without a doubt. You are just an ant after all. Moksha's sovereign laughed heartily, feeling very pleased. However, Ning Fan didn't die. He pressed his palm on the devil's sealing pouch and his eyes gradually became resolute. A rogue devil can only be used 3 times. Today is the first time. Devil, appear. He opened the devil's sealing pouch and a monstrous devil mist immediately soared into the sky. Under this devil mist, even a devil sovereign like Moksha's sovereign felt his heart palpitate. As soon as the devil creature was released, it immediately turned into the appearance of a giant with 2 horns. Without saying a word, it threw 3 consecutive punches. The first punch shattered Moksha's sovereign's 12 layers of revolving wheels. The second punch directly turned Moksha's sovereign's current body into dust. The third punch shattered all the seals of the entire golden world. Rogue. Rogue devil. Impossible. Moksha Sovereign's eyes widened. He couldn't believe that his physical body would be smashed into pieces. He couldn't believe that a mere ant like Ning Fan could actually subdue a rogue devil to help him. If he knew that Ning Fan had this rogue devil to protect him, he definitely wouldn't have recklessly sent it to chase after Ning Fan. A trace of black primordial spirit escaped from Ning Fan's physical body, desperately fleeing towards the outside of the golden world. How could Ning Fan let this primordial spirit escape? He ordered the rogue devil coldly. Capture it. Yes. The rogue devil answered reluctantly. With a flash of traveling light, he reached out his hand and caught Moksha Sovereign's primordial spirit, handing it over to Ning Fan. Ning Fan glanced at Moksha Sovereign's primordial spirit coldly and sealed it. Then, he kept it in his storage pouch. He was prepared to slowly search his soul and memory later. I'm a little worried about Zili and Roer. I'm going to save them now. Ning Fan leaped onto the rogue devil's shoulder and commanded him to walk towards the outside of the golden world with huge strides. One of Moksha Sovereign's 3 bodies was already dead. The 3 Realms sect was still his enemy today. Ning Fan had already made up his mind. All the enemies who came to invade today must die on this world passage. In the outside world, time was rewound a little. After sealing Ning Fan, the sect masters of the 3 realms scanned across the battlefield of the world passage and snorted coldly. The divine transformation realm cultivators they sent this time were almost all dead. The void refinement realm cultivators also suffered heavy losses. 30 to 40 of them had already died. The sect masters of the 3 realms glanced at the battlefield of the low-grade cultivators and frowned slightly. Ning Fan's 600 Void Inquiry stage spiritual puppets are really brave and good at fighting. Compared to these spiritual puppets, the Divine Transformation Realm and Void Refinement Realm cultivators of the Nirvana Palace and the 3 Realms sect were really vulnerable. With 600 Void Inquiry stage spiritual puppets leading the way, perhaps even an ordinary First Destruction Realm cultivator would not dare to face them head-on. Suppress. The sect master of the 3 realms flicked his sleeve. Countless golden characters flew out from his sleeve and landed on each of the Void Inquiry stage spiritual puppets. As soon as the golden characters hit the spiritual puppets, they immediately melted inside their bodies and sealed their magic power. In an instant, all 600 Void Inquiry stage spiritual puppets were sealed by the sect master of the 3 realms and kept away with a flick of his sleeve. The sect master of the 3 realms glanced at Ting Xianro and let out a cold snort. He did not put her in his eyes at all. When his gaze swept across the 5 puppets of the heavenly tribulation, he revealed a surprised expression. These are the puppets of the heavenly tribulation. Hee hee. That young man in plain robes is really an arrogant person. He even dares to capture the puppets of the heavenly tribulation. The sect master of the 3 realms chuckled. His eyes flashed with a hint of cold light. He raised his hand and sent out countless golden characters towards the 5 puppets of the heavenly tribulation. The power of the golden characters was extremely powerful. Even with the strength of the 5 puppets of the heavenly tribulation, they could not resist the power of the golden characters at all. Their power was directly sealed and they could not move at all. The sect master flicked his sleeve and kept all the 5 puppets of the heavenly tribulation. His eyes finally fell on Ting Xianro. You are my disciple's subordinate. So, you are also my subordinate. Betraying my disciple is the same as betraying me. His gaze shifted to Nieli and the coldness in his eyes became even colder. You are just an evil creature but your cultivation base is not weak. I will take you in and make you my mount. The sect master of the 3 realms clapped his hands. His magic power condensed into a gigantic golden palm and slammed down on the purple-eyed Nieli. The purple-eyed Nieli was fighting against Tian Qin and the others. When she saw the sect master of the 3 realms sneak attacking her all of a sudden, she was slightly angered. She spread her wings and a giant shadow of half of the Fuli spirit will immediately appeared in the sky above the passage. The spirit will produced a boundless suction force and sucked the golden palm imprint into the ring shadow. Soon after, the golden palm imprint exploded within the ring shadow of the spirit wheel, shattering the ring shadow. The purple-eyed Fuli screeched in pain. She suddenly realized that the sect master of the three realms was not easy to deal with. The sect master of the three realms was also slightly surprised. He was an old monster at the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. However, he actually could not defeat a mere demon beast with just a single palm imprint. You are not weak, but that's all there is to it. Void technique, flowing gold barrier. The sect master of the three realms pointed his finger. Golden light flowed above the sky and condensed into a gigantic golden barrier, trapping the purple-eyed Nyali within. After being trapped within the golden barrier, the purple-eyed Nyali desperately tried to break it, but it was difficult for her to break it. She looked anxious. She wanted to break the golden barrier and find Ning Fan, who was sucked into the whirlpool, to save him. However, no matter how hard she struggled, she could not escape from the golden barrier. Shriek! The purple-eyed Nyali let out a sharp cry of anger. The sect master of the three realms showed a hint of impatience. He pointed his finger at the flowing gold barrier and said coldly, "If you make any more noise, I will kill you, beast." As he pointed his finger, countless golden runes immediately appeared on the flowing gold barrier and hit the purple-eyed Nyali's body. Immediately, the purple-eyed Nyali let out a painful shriek. Ting Xianro bit her lips. Her heart was struggling. The sect master of the three realms first pointed out her crimes but did not punish her. Instead, he punished the Nyali first. He was giving her a chance. Ting Xianro was the subordinate of the Vine Sovereign. She had more or less heard some rumors about the sect master of the three realms. It was said that the sect master of the three realms cultivated some kind of unique dual cultivation technique. He especially liked to pluck human cauldrons. Moreover, most of the human cauldrons that he plucked had died. Only a small number of women who consumed a secret life-saving medicine could survive. The cultivation technique of the sect master of the three realms was very unique. It required the women to cooperate with him willingly in order to achieve the greatest effect. Of course, forcefully plucking the human cauldrons also had great benefits. Ting Xianro was a woman. She was a void fragmentation realm woman. The reason why the sect master of the three realms did not punish Ting Xianro was because he wanted to give her a chance. As long as she offered herself to be his human cauldron, he would let her go. Ting Xianro did not want to die. She had personally witnessed the sect master of the three realms subduing the Nyali and sealing the group of demons with a wave of his hand. She knew that with her current strength, she could not even destroy a piece of his sleeve. If she goes against the sect master of the three realms, she would certainly die. If she agrees to become his human cauldron, she could still live for a few more days. If she is given a secret medicine, she might not die after being plucked. Why? Are you unwilling? The sect master's tone suddenly became cold. Ting Xianro bit her lips so hard that it bled. However, she did not beg for mercy in the end. Only then did she realize that there were some things that she could not compromise and submit to if she was unwilling to do so. She pondered for a while. If the person who threatened her was Ning Fan, would she agree to become his human cauldron? Perhaps, she would. Thinking of Ning Fan, Ting Xianro's heart suddenly became chaotic. Today, the sect master of the three realms had come personally. Ning Fan had already been sealed in the spatial vortex technique. It was very likely that he would not be able to escape death. Will he die? When she thought of this possibility, her heart suddenly felt as if it was being torn apart. It was so painful that she could not breathe. Her thoughts became more and more chaotic. In the past, she was worried that Ning Fan would die because she who was implanted with the slave imprint would die together with him. Today, she just could not bear to hear the news of Ning Fan's death. He will die. If that is the case, I will die eventually. Why should I beg for mercy? Ting Xianro's heart suddenly calmed down. She no longer said anything and used her silence to reject the sect master's suggestion. The sect master's eyes turned gloomy. He had never thought that Ting Xianro would dare to reject his good intention. He had the purple sun physique, which was one of the 7 sun physiques. This was the reason why he needed Du Yu had the scarlet sun physique, which was very useful to him. If the women he plucked did not consume any precious secret medicine, all of them would die. At first, he thought that Ting Xianro had some beauty and wanted to give her a secret medicine to keep her alive so that he could slowly pluck her. Now that Ting Xianro was so stubborn, the sect master was inwardly furious. He decided to use the crudest method to capture her and pluck her directly. It was her fate to die. I will count to 3. If you don't obey me, you will definitely regret it. 1, 2. Before he could count to 3, a giant devil with 2 horns suddenly stepped on the golden vortex spatial technique and reappeared on the world passage. There was a black-robed young man standing on the shoulder of the devil. As soon as he appeared, he immediately rolled up his sleeves and wrapped Ting Xianro onto the giant's shoulder. Without saying anything, the giant devil raised his fist and punched at the sect master of the 3 realms. As soon as the punch was thrown, countless void vortexes were formed. Wherever the fist light passed, the cultivators of the Nirvana Hall and the 3 realms sect were all crushed into pieces. Rogue devil. Before the sect master of the 3 realms could react, his chest was already hit by the devil's punch. His spirit equipment and treasure armor were all shattered. He was forced to retreat 1,000 steps in the sky before he managed to stabilize himself. However, he was already coughing out blood. He stared at the giant devil in front of him in horror. This was a rogue devil. A rogue devil that had once cultivated to the void fragmentation realm and above. Even though it was unknown why this rogue devil's cultivation base had dropped to the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, it could even put up a fight against an ordinary 9th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm expert. The sect master of the 3 realms knew that he was definitely not a match for this rogue devil. His gaze shifted to Ning Fan, who was standing on the devil's shoulder. His heart skipped a beat. Could it be that this rogue devil was summoned by Ning Fan? This rogue devil came out from the sealed space of the spatial vortex spatial technique. Could it be that this rogue devil is related to Moksha's sovereign? Speaking of which, where did Moksha's sovereign go? Could he be dead? How could the sect master of the 3 realms know that this rogue devil was Ning Fan's puppet who had been subdued by him? In the sect master's impression, those who have attained the rogue devil realm were either old monsters who were infamous in the devil world or people from the upper world. In any case, it was impossible for them to be ordinary people. Subduing a rogue devil as a slave in the great void of the lower world was like a fantasy. It was impossible for it to happen. Friend, I'm the sect master of the 3 realms sect in the heaven immortal world. Today's matter is a personal grudge between my sect and someone else. I hope that you won't interfere in this matter for the sake of my sect. If you leave now. Before the sect master of the 3 realms could finish his words, the rogue devil threw a second punch at him, sending him flying away. This time, the sect master of the 3 realms reacted quickly. He took out a magic treasure to protect himself, but he was still injured by the rogue devil's punch. He was burning with anger. Even if you are an elder figure in the devil world or a devil cultivator from the upper world, I will make you pay for hurting me today. Do you know that I also have a few rogue immortal friends in the heaven immortal world? Get lost. The rogue devil threw a third punch, sending the sect master of the 3 realms flying for the 3rd time. In terms of strength, the rogue devil was much stronger than the sect master of the 3 realms. The rogue devil threw a 4th punch, shattering the flowing gold barrier that was sealing Nia Li and releasing him. Ning Fan looked around. When he saw that Nia Li's injuries were not light and Ting Xianro was almost in danger, his heart was filled with rage. When he saw that all the puppets were gone, he knew that they must have been taken away by the sect master of the 3 realms. Li Er, come back and rest. Ro Er, you come back too. Ning Fan kept Ting Xianro and Nia Li back. His eyes swept across the entire place like cold lightning and he gave an order to the rogue devil. Leave no one alive. All the enemies who came to invade today must die. The eyelids of the sect master of the three realms twitched. He no longer had the arrogant demeanor he had before. He knew that he was not a match for the rogue devil. The only thing he could do now was to retreat from this place. He patted his storage pouch and took out a jade slip. He lifted his hand and crushed it. Immediately, a light gate appeared in the passage of the world. The sect master of the three realms stepped into it without hesitation, trying to escape. You want to leave? Can you? Did I say that you can? The rogue devil was furious and shattered the realm gate with a punch. The realm gate collapsed. The sect master of the three realms fell out while coughing out blood. He was shocked. This rogue devil is really powerful. He can even destroy the realm gate. With the interference of this rogue devil, none of us can open the realm gate and escape today. Cultivators of the Nirvana Hall and the Three Realms sect, listen to my command. Attack this devil together with me. The moment the sect master of the Three Realms sect uttered those words, he immediately regretted it. The rogue devil made a grabbing motion with his huge hand. Countless black devil chains shot out from his palm. They divided into billions of chains and pierced into the bodies of the cultivators of the Nirvana Hall and the Three Realms sect, instantly sucking them dry. Divine Transformation Realm and Void Refinement Realm cultivators were instantly killed. First Heavenly Layer and Second Heavenly Layer Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators were all killed instantly. Even though the four devil elders of the Nirvana Hall were not killed instantly, they were skewered like roasted meat by the rogue devil. Then, they were sealed by the devil chains and handed over to Ning Fan. Old monster Tian Hao's face turned green with fear. He had never seen such a powerful devil creature before. He turned around and tried to run, but his chest was penetrated by the devil chains. After being sealed, he was handed over to Ning Fan. All the cultivators on the battlefield were annihilated by the rogue devil in just a single encounter. Not good. I'm far from being a match for this devil. Run now. The sect master of the Three Realms sect took out an ancient purple shuttle and leaped onto it. Go after him. As soon as Ning Fan gave the order, the rogue devil burst into laughter and immediately chased after them with huge strides. The speed of the sect master of the Three Realms sect was not slow, but it was much slower than the rogue devil. Seeing that the rogue devil was chasing after them closely and obeying Ning Fan's orders obediently, the sect master of the Three Realms sect's heart sank. He thought to himself, could this rogue devil be Ning Fan's servant or something that only listens to Ning Fan's orders? He gritted his teeth and removed the storage pouch that contained the 600 Void Inquiry Stage spiritual puppets and the 5 puppets of the Heavenly Tribulation. Then, he tossed it to the back and returned it to Ning Fan. Little friend Ning, I have returned all the spiritual puppets that I have seized from you. Please give me a chance to live. Don't chase after me anymore. If you push me too far, you will surely regret it. Ning Fan looked at the storage pouch that was flying towards him. He did not reach out to catch it but let the rogue devil catch it instead. His eyes flashed with coldness. He could tell that the storage pouch had been tampered with. The rogue devil bent his palm and caught the storage pouch. Immediately, some of the golden characters hidden on the pouch struck the rogue devil's palm. Even though the rogue devil's physical body was strong, it still left many bloody marks on his palm. You're courting death. The rogue devil was enraged and chased after Ning Fan even faster. Ning Fan kept the storage pouch and all the spiritual puppets. Then, he stared coldly at the fleeing back of the sect master of the Three Realms. Indeed, one must not be careless when dealing with such an old monster. However, no matter what, the sect master of the Three Realms must die. He must not let him go back to the heaven immortal world. Why is he still chasing after me? The sect master of the Three Realms turned around and saw that the golden characters on the storage pouch did not hurt Ning Fan at all. His eyes immediately turned grim. When he saw the furious expression on the rogue devil's face, he felt his scalp go numb. He took out a piece of golden sandalwood from his sleeve and his eyes turned gloomy. It seems like I won't be able to escape without paying a price. Humph. The sect master of the three realms took out a handful of thunder shock stones from his storage pouch and threw them to the back. He did not care whether they hit Ning Fan or not. While the dust was rising from the back, the sect master of the three realms ignited a wisp of purple flames between his fingers, trying to ignite the golden sandalwood. The pained expression on his face was definitely not an act. This is the ancient divine incense. Once the golden incense is ignited, it will be extremely lethal to devil cultivators. It has a heaven-defying nourishing effect to profound cultivators. This item is extremely precious. It is a necessary item for my sect to break through to the next realm. Now, I might have to use it to eliminate the two devils behind me. The rogue devil is a devil, and that Ning Fan is also a devil cultivator. Once this incense is ignited, the rogue devil will definitely be injured and that Ning Fan will definitely die. Burn. Chapter 6:12. Half of the golden sandalwood incense was suddenly ignited. Almost 1/10 of it had been burned. A wisp of golden fragrant mist immediately spread across the world passage, forming a golden smoke screen. As soon as the sect master of the three realms smelled the mist, his eyes flashed with rays of light. His speed instantly increased by 30%. He was a cultivator of the profound gate. To him, this ancient divine incense was a great supplement that was hard to come by. The golden smoke screen continued to spread to the back, drifting towards the rogue devil and Ning Fan. As soon as the rogue devil smelled the smoke, the devil chi around his body began to melt. The wisps of golden smoke seemed to be extremely corrosive. Being inside the golden smoke screen, the rogue devil's gigantic body began to melt into golden liquid bit by bit. As more and more fragrant mist seeped into the rogue devil's body, his chi began to show signs of declining and his speed began to decrease rapidly. What kind of bird fragrance is this? The rogue devil was shocked. The fragrant mist also seeped into Ning Fan's body, trying to melt all the devil chi in his body. Ning Fan was secretly shocked. This fragrant mist is really domineering. It's actually a treasure that specializes in restraining devil cultivators. When his devil chi was being suppressed, the ancient divine blood in his body began to boil. His aura force did not decrease but increased instead. Ning Fan felt a warm current flowing out of his chest, producing a mysterious power that devoured the sandalwood mist in his body. At this moment, the ancient divine blood in his body circulated on its own, devouring the golden sandalwood mist wantonly. Every time he devoured a wisp of the mist, his magic power would increase tremendously. Every time he devoured a wisp of the mist, some light spots would appear on his glabella, slowly forming the fourth divine star. He narrowed his eyes and immediately realized that the strange sandalwood incense that the sect master of the three realms ignited was a poisonous item to devil cultivators. It could cause great damage to them. However, to profound cultivators, it was a supreme treasure that could increase their cultivation base. The stronger the divine bloodline, the greater the benefits one would get from absorbing the fragrant mist. With Ning Fan's divine king bloodline, his magic power had increased by half a yuan after just absorbing a wisp of the fragrant mist. If he could devour the entire golden sandalwood incense, his magic power would certainly increase tremendously. Ning Fan's gaze shifted to the rogue devil. When he saw that the golden sandalwood incense had injured him and his cultivation base was about to drop, he immediately crouched down and placed his palm on the rogue devil's shoulder. His palm seemed to have formed a vortex, sucking out all of the fragrant mist from the rogue devil's body. As the golden fragrant mist left his body, the chi of the rogue devil gradually returned to normal. He gave Ning Fan a complicated look without saying anything. Ning Fan rose to his feet and opened his mouth, sucking in all of the fragrant mist into his stomach. Then, he activated the divine blood in his divine aperture and frantically refined this fragrant mist. His royal divine blood seemed to be boiling, and his physical body seemed to be on the verge of burning. After inhaling all the fragrant mist in the air, his physical body swelled up like a balloon. His body was filled with a large amount of unrefined fragrant mist. To Ning Fan, this fragrant mist was an extremely nourishing item. It contained nearly 2,000 yuan hui of magic power. If he could completely refine the fragrant mist in his body, coupled with the divine ability of the ancient god's divine aperture, his magic power would increase by 4,000 yuan. If the sect master of the three realms were to absorb all of the fragrant mist, he would only be able to increase his magic power by 500 yuan at most. After all, the divine bloodline of the sect master of the three realms was far inferior to Ning Fan's. Besides, he was not an ancient god who had yet to open his divine aperture. Such a large amount of fragrant mist was not something that could be refined in a short period of time. Ning Fan formed a hand seal with all 10 of his fingers and forced all the fragrant mist in his body into the heart aperture of his divine heart. Gradually, his body stopped expanding and returned to normal. In his divine heart, a fingernail-sized golden crystal slowly formed. That golden crystal was formed from 1/10 of the ancient divine fragrance mist. If Ning Fan refines it, it could increase his magic power by 4,000 yuan. Continue to chase after him. Ning Fan gave an order. The rogue devil threw a punch across the sky, creating countless void vortexes. The fist light turned into black wind that filled the sky and swept towards the sect master of the three realms. The sect master of the three realms was shocked. He raised his hand and pointed behind him. Countless golden runes flew towards the black wind. As the black wind swirled, all of the golden runes were destroyed. Then, it swept towards the sect master of the three realms. The sect master of the three realms immediately felt a sharp pain on his back. His face turned pale and he nearly fell off the purple flying shuttle. Impossible. I have already ignited 1/10 of the ancient divine incense. Why didn't it hurt the rogue devil? This incense didn't hurt the rogue devil. Perhaps it's because the rogue devil has great abilities and is not afraid of the ancient divine incense. However, what ability does he have? He's just a devil cultivator at the origin returning realm. Why didn't he get killed by the ancient divine incense? He didn't even suffer any injuries. He actually remained unscathed in the ancient divine incense mist. Could it be that the rogue devil is protecting him? Humph. So what if he's a rogue devil? This ancient divine incense is the supreme treasure of the ancient divine clan. If I have the entire ancient divine incense in my hands, I can even severely injure a life immortal realm devil cultivator. This half of the ancient divine incense is definitely more than enough to kill a rogue devil. I'm just reluctant to use up this incense. It's not because I'm afraid of the rogue devil. Ignite. This time, the sect master of the three realms directly ignited 20% of the ancient divine incense. As soon as the sandalwood was ignited, the golden fragrant mist immediately spread across the world passage. The sect master of the three realms inhaled a huge mouthful of the fragrant mist. His speed increased as he fled for his life. This time, the density of the fragrant mist was twice as thick as before. Being in such a dense golden mist, the rogue devil found it hard to breathe. Its gigantic body began to melt again. Within the golden mist, a gigantic golden armored guard gradually appeared. It only had the left half of its body and there were 5 golden stars on its glabella. The golden armored guard's chi was comparable to that of a rogue immortal. It was extremely powerful. The golden armored guard's expression was very indifferent. He glanced at Ning Fan. As if he had sensed Ning Fan's ancient divine bloodline, he did not look at him for a second time. His gaze gradually turned fierce when it fell on the rogue devil. Suddenly, he raised his left hand and the golden mist condensed into a golden spear in his hand. He threw the spear at the rogue devil and shouted coldly. Millions of divine incense can annihilate heavenly devils. Devil, annihilate. That golden spear was as dazzling as the sun. It carried an extremely dense ancient divine chi as if it could subdue all devils in the world. The tip of the spear was extremely fast. Before the rogue devil had a chance to dodge, it had already penetrated his chest. Ah! After being pierced by the golden spear, the rogue devil let out a blood-curdling scream. A golden hole immediately appeared on its gigantic body. Black blood flowed out from the hole and it nearly fell from the sky. Ning Fan's eyes widened. He did not expect that the golden fragrant mist could actually transform into the shadow of an ancient god. He would not be mistaken. That golden armored guard which only had half of its body was definitely the shadow of an ancient god. Even though he did not know what that ancient divine incense was, he was certain that it must be something that belonged to the ancient divine clan. This incense was specially used to subdue devils. However, to the ancient divine clan, this incense was the best item to increase their cultivation base. Refine. Ning Fan squatted down and pressed his palm on the rogue devil's shoulder. A vortex appeared on his palm and he sucked in the air. As he sucked in the air, the golden spear that penetrated the rogue devil immediately turned into fragrant mist and was absorbed by Ning Fan. Even though the spear had penetrated the rogue devil, it did not pierce the vital parts of his dantian. Even though the face of the rogue devil turned pale, its combat power did not decrease by much. After Ning Fan refined the golden spear mist into his body, he stood up and stared coldly at the shadow of the golden armored guard. There were 5 stars on the glabella of the golden armored guard. He must be a 5-star ancient god. However, the bloodline of this 5-star ancient god had only reached the true blood grade. It had yet to reach the royal grade. Ning Fan, on the other hand, was an ancient god with royal grade bloodline. This devil is my slave. You can't kill him. Back off. Ning Fan shouted coldly. His voice carried the dignity of a king god. When the golden armored guard sensed Ning Fan's vast bloodline aura force, his eyes trembled and he felt a little scared. He no longer dared to attack the rogue devil. Instead, he bowed slightly at Ning Fan and suddenly shattered his body, turning back into the fragrant mist. When Ning Fan saw this, he opened his mouth and swallowed all the fragrant mist into his stomach. Then, he forced it into his divine heart and condensed 2 golden crystals again. There were already 3 golden crystals in his body. If he refines all of them, his magic power could increase by 12,000 yuan hui. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a bottle of 6th revolution pills. He tossed the whole bottle into the rogue devil's mouth and ordered, "Take this pill to suppress your injuries. Then, continue to chase after him." The rogue devil did not say anything. His eyes were filled with astonishment. In the past, he only knew that Ning Fan was a devil cultivator with ancestral bloodline. However, he did not know that Ning Fan also possessed the divine bloodline of a royal bloodline. He was able to scare off the golden armored guard with just the aura force of his bloodline. There is actually a cultivator who cultivates both divine and devil cultivation in this world. How terrifying! When he thought about it again, the reason why he was injured was all because of the strange fragrant mist that the sect master of the 3 realms created. All of a sudden, the killing intent in the rogue devil's eyes intensified. He hated the sect master of the 3 realms to the core. Without Ning Fan's order, the rogue devil formed hand seals with all 10 of his fingers and activated a secret technique. His body seemed to have turned into lightning and his speed immediately increased by a few times. In just a breath's time, the rogue devil was already 10,000 zhang behind the sect master of the 3 realms again. He raised his hand and threw a punch at him. Old fool! How dare you ambush me with the demonic fragrance? I'll beat you to death. Boom! Countless void vortexes exploded behind the sect master of the 3 realms. The sect master of the 3 realms felt a sharp pain on his back after being hit by the rogue devil's punch. He coughed out a mouthful of blood and fell off the purple flying shuttle. The rogue devil stepped on the vast sky and approached the sect master of the 3 realms. Then, he threw another punch at him. The sect master of the 3 realms was shocked. His body dispersed into countless rays of golden light, dodging the rogue devil's punch and reforming his body 10,000 zhang away. He panted heavily and stared at the rogue devil with a gloomy expression. He did not expect that he could not stop the rogue devil even after lighting up 20% of the ancient divine incense. However, seeing that the rogue devil was severely injured, the sect master of the three realms calmed down a little. He knew that his ancient divine incense was quite effective against the rogue devil. However, what puzzled him was that Ning Fan was still unscathed even though the rogue devil was injured to this extent by the ancient divine incense. This young man is indeed a devil cultivator. However, he wasn't hurt by the ancient divine incense at all. It's really strange, forget it. No matter how strange this young man is, if I light up all of the ancient divine incense, he will certainly die and the rogue devil will certainly be severely injured. Humph. Since I can't escape, I won't. Burn. This time, the sect master of the three realms lit up the remaining 70% of the ancient divine incense. He was reluctant to use the ancient divine incense in the first place. That was why he kept avoiding the rogue devil. Now that he had nowhere to retreat or hide, the sect master of the three realms naturally no longer felt distressed about using the incense. The remaining half of the golden sandalwood was ignited by the purple flames. Inch by inch, it turned into ashes and disappeared. Wisps of golden mist quickly spread across the sky. In just an instant, it had sealed off the sky within 8 million li. The sect master of the three realms sneered. His 10 fingers formed a series of hand seals. Within the mist, the shadows of 3 golden armored guards slowly appeared. The chi of the 3 golden armored guards had all reached the rogue immortal realm. The 3 golden armored guards raised their palms and each of them condensed a giant golden spear in their palms. The 3 of them looked at Ning Fan with respect. When they turned to look at the rogue devil again, their eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Humph. This old man has already sacrificed all of the ancient divine incense. There's no reason for me to return empty-handed today. I will certainly kill the 2 of you here. Kill. The sect master of the three realms let out a cold snort. The 3 golden armored guards raised their hands at the same time, preparing to throw their golden spears. He was a divine cultivator with true blood. Using his true blood to command the shadows of the 3 ancient gods consumed a lot of his magic power. Seeing that the 3 golden armored guards were going to attack him at the same time, the rogue devil showed a hint of fear despite his strength. Ning Fan's eyes, however, remained cold. He stood on the shoulder of the rogue devil while his body emitted traces of the aura force of an ancient god with royal bloodline. Under this aura force, the 3 golden armored guards were all shocked and doubtful. None of them dared to throw their golden spears. As for the sect master of the three realms, he stared at Ning Fan in disbelief. He gritted his teeth and said, "Impossible. You're clearly a devil cultivator. Why do you have such a pure aura force of divine blood? Besides, the grade of your aura force has actually reached the royal bloodline level." The sect master of the three realms could only identify the grade of Ning Fan's bloodline. However, he could not tell that Ning Fan was an ancient god and not an ordinary divine cultivator. Ning Fan did not say much. He just glanced at the 3 golden armored guards with his cold eyes and gave an order. "Stand down." The 3 golden armored guards were suppressed by Ning Fan's bloodline aura force. Their hearts were filled with fear and they did not dare to utter a word. All of them turned into fragrant mist and dispersed. The moment Ning Fan used his royal bloodline to disperse the 3 golden armored guards, the sect master of the three realms immediately suffered a huge backlash. Then, he opened his mouth and inhaled, swallowing all the golden mist into his stomach and forcing it into his divine heart. Then, 7 golden crystals formed in his divine heart again. At this point, he had completely devoured the ancient divine incense of the sect master of the three realms. If Ning Fan devours all 10 of the golden crystals, his magic power would increase by 40,000 periods. At that time, his magic power would exceed the limit of 100,000 periods. In terms of magic power alone, he would be comparable to an ordinary second heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old monster. I miscalculated. The sect master of the three realms did not say much. He just showed a regretful expression. He did not expect Ning Fan to be a divine cultivator with royal bloodline. His ancient divine incense did not hurt Ning Fan at all. Instead, he used all of his incense to strengthen his enemy. How hateful. Kill. Ning Fan did not have the mood to talk nonsense with the sect master of the three realms. Today, only one of them could survive. As soon as he gave the order, the rogue devil immediately sent out rays of destructive fist light. The eyes of the sect master of the three realms darkened. Suddenly, his eyes shone with purple light. Purple sun, open. A gigantic shadow of a purple sun suddenly appeared behind him. As soon as the gigantic shadow appeared, the aura force of the sect master of the three realms began to rise steadily. Be careful. He has the most sinister purple sun physique among the 7 yang physiques. Luo Yu's anxious voice resounded in Ning Fan's mind. Chapter 6:13. When he heard that the sect master of the three realms possessed the purple sun physique, Ning Fan immediately understood many things. The reason why the sect master nurtured Du was probably because of his scarlet sun physique. The gigantic purple sun summoned by the sect master of the three realms was shrouded in purple flames, but it gave Ning Fan an extremely cold feeling. At this moment, all the pores on his body shivered. It was an instinctive premonition of danger. This purple sun is very dangerous. Ning Fan had been taught an incomplete chant by Luo Yu which could devour true yang power. However, that chant was incomplete. It was impossible to break the purple sun technique of the sect master of the three realms with just a chant. Under the purple sun, the golden robes of the sect master of the three realms fluttered in the wind. His body was surrounded by tens of thousands of golden runes. His aura force rose steadily under the purple sun, almost reaching the peak of the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. This person was already a peak expert of the 9 realms. An ordinary void fragmentation realm expert could not be compared to him. Compared to him, Moksha Sovereign and Thunder Sovereign Buzhou were much weaker. First purple sun technique, burn. The sect master changed his hand seal. Waves of cold purple flames suddenly spread out from the purple sun, turning into countless gigantic purple fire birds that attacked Ning Fan and the rogue devil. Ning Fan's eyes widened slightly. The power of these fire birds was even stronger than the rogue devil's fist light. Without the help of the rogue devil, Ning Fan would certainly not be able to withstand the attack of these fire birds with his own strength. Ning Fan had to admit that the sect master of the three realms was very strong. He was not someone he could fight against. However, he and the sect master of the three realms were already irreconcilable enemies. No matter what, he must not let this enemy go. Attack! Under Ning Fan's command, the rogue devil immediately took a huge step forward, leaving Ning Fan behind. His devil chi flowed in reverse and his physical body suddenly shattered, turning into a monstrous devil mist. Then, the mist turned into an incomparably huge black skull. This black skull was an extremely powerful devil technique. It was one of the trump cards of the rogue devil. Devour. The skull opened its mouth and swallowed all the purple fire birds into its mouth with a boundless suction force. After withdrawing from the devil skeleton, the rogue devil turned back to his giant form and sneered. He felt that the technique of the sect master of the three realms was only so even though it seemed powerful. In the end, it was still easily broken by him. Just as he was thinking, he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his abdomen and heard the cries of countless fire birds. His huge body suddenly started burning from the inside out, and a big hole was burned in his chest. How dare you devour our sect's technique? Explode! The three realms sect master fiercely formed a hand seal, and the fire birds immediately exploded within the loose devil's body. The devil screamed and was blown into countless black mist. After a short while, the black fog condensed back into the loose devil's gigantic body, but its aura was much weaker than before. It was obvious that it had suffered serious injuries. At this moment, the scattered devil's body was burning with purple flames. The purple flames seeped into his body and turned into purple maggots that ate away at the scattered devil's body. Rogue devil's god had Yang Yu Li Hu. He started Yu became anxious for Sun Yu god. This 9 dragon who Yu Fan had was in Sun Yu. The clan, Sun Yu is Yu Yun, King Hu Sun Hu Li. The sect Tian Yu clan of Li, Ning Fan returned to the rogue devil's shoulder. Without saying anything, he squatted down and placed his palm on the rogue devil's shoulder. A whirlpool of black and white flames appeared on his palm. The traces of purple flames in the rogue devil's body were sucked into the whirlpool and sealed inside the steel of sun and moon. Ning Fan dispersed the purple flames in the rogue devil's body and stood up. His face suddenly turned pale and he coughed out a mouthful of blood. There was actually a purple fire maggot in the blood. What a vicious flame! Ordinary flames relied on burning to hurt others. The purple flame of the sect master of the 3 realms, on the other hand, relied on corrosion. If it wasn't because the rogue devil had suffered most of the damage from the purple flames and the steel of sun and moon could restrain flames, Ning Fan would certainly not be able to force the rogue devil's purple flames out with his current cultivation base. Seeing that Ning Fan had saved him, the rogue devil's eyes turned complicated again. The sect master of the 3 realms' face turned pale. It was hard for him to imagine that the purple flames that even the rogue devil found troublesome was actually broken by Ning Fan. Purple Sun's second technique, combine. The sect master of the 3 realms changed his hand seal and leaped into the gigantic purple sun with a single step. His body slowly merged with the purple sun. After a while, the purple sun completely fused with the body of the sect master of the 3 realms. At this moment, the sect master of the 3 realms emitted a dazzling light like a sun. He changed his hand seal and the purple flames in his body suddenly flowed out, condensing into a gigantic purple poisonous dragon. The cultivation base of that purple poisonous dragon was slightly lower than the sect master of the 3 realms. It was only at the 7th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Separate. The sect master of the 3 realms continued to form hand seals. Balls of purple flames flowed out of his body and condensed into purple poisonous dragons. In an instant, there were already 8 purple poisonous dragons coiling around him. Kill! As the sect master of the 3 realms gave an order, the 8 poisonous dragons beside him rushed towards the rogue devil and Ning Fan. As for himself, he hid among the poisonous dragons, intending to cooperate with them to attack the rogue devil. Ning Fan clenched his fists tightly. At this moment, the sect master of the 3 realms' aura force skyrocketed. He even summoned 8 7th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm poisonous dragons to help him. His combat power had already surpassed the rogue devil. The rogue devil had a slim chance of winning against the sect master of the 3 realms. However, this battle was unavoidable. Once he steps onto the battlefield, he would no longer have the chance to retreat. He could only fight until the end. I have a secret technique that can allow me to recover my cultivation base above the void fragmentation realm in a short period of time. However, I need your ancestral devil blood to use it. If this technique succeeds, this old man will certainly die. The rogue devil gritted his teeth and said. What he meant was that he actually wanted to cooperate with Ning Fan to fight against the sect master of the 3 realms. How do I cooperate with you? Ignite your devil blood and lend me your ancestral devil might. All right. Ning Fan pondered for a moment and agreed to the rogue devil's request. Without saying anything else, he ignited a trace of ancestral devil blood in his body. At the moment the drop of devil blood was ignited, a vast devil might spread out from Ning Fan's body and was guided into the rogue devil's body. Ning Fan's face turned pale rapidly but his eyes remained resolute. He did not ignite the entire drop of devil blood. He only ignited a trace of it. Even though he only ignited a trace of his devil blood, the devil might it produced was incomparably vast. It made the rogue devil feel a little suffocated. Strands of demonic might were guided into the scattered devil's body. The scattered devil immediately formed seals with his 10 fingers. His face also turned pale and his aura started to rise. Ning Fan had once extracted a large amount of devil chi from him, causing his cultivation base to fall. Today, after absorbing the devil might of Ning Fan's ancestral blood, he used a secret technique to temporarily replenish his devil chi, allowing him to recover his previous cultivation base within a short period of time. His aura force slowly rose to the 9th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm and gradually surpassed the 9th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. It was now between the void fragmentation realm and the life immortal realm. At this moment, the scattered devil's demonic aura gradually condensed around him. It was as still as stagnant water. He raised his head, glaring at the sect masters of the 3 realms and the 8 purple poison dragons. He was so angry that he actually laughed. "Old fogey, fight me." With a wave of his hand, 8 huge black skulls suddenly appeared in the sky. The 8 skulls opened their mouths at the same time, each swallowing a purple poisonous dragon. As soon as the dignified 7th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm purple poisonous dragon was swallowed by the skull, he immediately let out a miserable shriek and died. The sect masters of the 3 worlds were shocked. They did not know why the rogue devil's aura force suddenly rose to the void fragmentation realm. He hurriedly stopped in his tracks. Even though he was shocked, he did not panic. Instead, he formed hand seals and chanted some incantations. Rot! The remains of the 8 poisonous dragons that were swallowed by the skulls immediately exploded, turning into boundless poisonous flames that corroded the 8 skulls into purple poisonous liquid. The poisonous liquid that blotted the sky turned into a purple poisonous rain, pouring down on the rogue devil's head. The eyes of the rogue devil turned cold. With a punch, the poisonous rain that blotted the sky turned into nothingness. The sect masters of the 3 worlds were shocked again. At this moment, the rogue devil gave him a feeling that he could not defeat him. He patted his storage pouch and took out a golden gourd. Then, he cast it out. A ray of purple light floated out from the gourd. That purple light turned into an extremely fast sharp blade that could travel thousands of li in a single breath. With a slash from the sky, the rogue devil's head was directly cut off. The rogue devil's head flew high up into the sky. However, he did not die. Instead, he turned into black mist and dissipated. At the next moment, the black mist gathered again and the rogue devil's head grew back. Without saying anything, he raised his hand and grabbed the sharp purple light blade. With just a palm strike, he crushed the blade into pieces. With a slap from his palm, the golden gourd was smashed into pieces across the sky. With another slap, a massive force hit the chest of the sect master of the 3 worlds from a distance away, directly knocking him down from the sky. What's going on? Why did this devil suddenly become so much stronger? The sect master of the 3 worlds glared at Ning Fan hatefully. He did not know what Ning Fan did to him, but he was sure that it must be related to Ning Fan. He had several chances to kill the rogue devil. However, Ning Fan was the one who interfered every single time. Now that the situation had changed, the sect master of the 3 worlds' heart sank. Most likely, he was going to die today. The rogue devil took a huge step forward and gathered all of his anger into his punch. Each of his punches would certainly be earth-shattering. The sect master of the 3 worlds summoned his magic treasures to fight against the rogue devil. However, the rogue devil's current cultivation base had already exceeded the void fragmentation realm. It was not something he could fight against at all. Boom boom boom, each of the magic treasures was smashed into pieces by the rogue devil. Rays of punches landed on the body of the sect master of the 3 worlds. 10 punches, 100 punches, 1,000 punches, 10,000 punches. 100,000 punches. The physical body of the sect master of the 3 worlds was about to be smashed into nothingness by the rogue devil. The immortal veins in his body were all broken and his primordial spirit had become illusory. He was not far from death. He could not run away. He could not win the battle. He was unwilling to die. The sect master of the 3 worlds glared at the rogue devil and then at Ning Fan. His eyes were filled with endless hatred and regret. If he did not listen to Moksha Sovereign's slanderous words and did not come here to kill Ning Fan, he would not have ended up in such a miserable state. It was too late for regrets. There were no ifs in life and there was no room for regret. The sect master of the three worlds was an ambitious and ruthless character in the heaven immortal world after all. His strength alone was enough to wipe out the three lower worlds. Now that he had ended up in such a state, he would not beg for mercy from Ning Fan. He would only fight with his life on the line. At this moment, he ignited the purple sun in his body and swore to perish together with Ning Fan. I have never been weaker than anyone in my life. Even if I have to die right now, I will leave you a great gift. The strongest technique of my three worlds sect is the sealing technique. I have studied the sealing technique for tens of thousands of years and combined it with my purple sun physique to create this technique. Immortal technique, purple seal. The sect master of the three worlds shouted. At this moment, his body turned into purple flames and soared into the sky. He was going to display an immortal technique to severely injure Ning Fan. Normally, only immortals could display immortal techniques. Even rogue immortals would not be able to display immortal techniques. The sect master of the three worlds had spent his entire life to create an immortal technique sealing technique. He sacrificed his entire life's worth of cultivation to finally display this sealing technique. His body turned into purple flames and his primordial spirit turned into purple flames. His Tao mastery turned into purple flames that filled the sky. Within the purple flames, there were countless golden runes, all of which possessed sealing power. The life of the sect master of the three worlds had ended at this moment. However, the immortal technique that he displayed was still continuing. Suddenly, the purple flames formed a massive purple whirlpool. It was similar to the whirlpool of the spatial vortex technique. It produced a boundless suction force, but it did not attract the rogue devil but Ning Fan. Ning Fan was originally standing on the shoulder of the rogue devil. However, when he was sucked by the whirlpool, he lost his balance and was sucked into the whirlpool 10,000 zhang away. Destroy it. Ning Fan hurriedly gave an order before he was sucked into the whirlpool. The rogue devil heard his order and immediately rushed forward. Countless punches landed on the purple whirlpool. However, he could not break it. It was an immortal realm sealing technique. Even though the rogue devil was strong, it was still difficult for him to break it. Moreover, the rogue devil could only rely on a secret technique to temporarily recover his previous cultivation base. As time passed, the duration of the secret technique would run out and his cultivation base would fall to the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm again. His punches began to weaken, making it even more difficult for him to break the seal. Inside the purple whirlpool, Ning Fan seemed to be fixed in place. He could not move at all. He tried to escape into the profound Yin world to avoid the seal, but he realized that he could not escape at all. Traces of purple light seeped into Ning Fan's body, slowly forming a series of sealing techniques on the left side of his body. Countless sealing techniques seeped into his body, causing him immense pain. His primordial spirit was also covered with a series of sealing techniques. The seal lasted for 2 whole hours. 2 hours later, the purple whirlpool disappeared. Ning Fan returned to his white robes and fell from the sky as if he was exhausted, landing heavily on the world passage. The rogue devil approached Ning Fan with a complicated expression and stared at him without saying a word. In the profound Yin world, Luo Yu witnessed the entire process of Ning Fan being affected by the sealing technique. She bit her lips with her pearly white teeth and clenched her fists so tightly that her nails pierced into her flesh. She had never felt so powerless before. With her current cultivation base, she could not help Ning Fan resist the immortal realm sealing technique at all. I'm sorry. Luo Yu blamed herself. Don't mind me. I've killed an 8th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old monster, but I was only affected by a sealing technique. I didn't lose my life. It's already worth it. This is the price I have to pay for killing the sect master of the 3 realms. Ning Fan did not even have the strength to stand. All he could do was sit cross-legged on the ground and consume some pills. Then, he began to regulate his breath and magic power to treat his injuries. He casually comforted Luoyu, not wanting her to blame herself. It was his own choice to kill the sect master of the three realms. All the consequences would be borne by him alone. It had nothing to do with anyone else. Ning Fan looked inside his body. When he saw the densely packed sealing techniques inside his body, he showed a mixed expression. Of course, his worries were greater than his joy. He was worried because this immortal realm sealing technique was really powerful. What he was happy about was that being affected by the sealing technique of the sect master of the three realms did not come without any benefits. This immortal realm sealing technique did not seal one's cultivation base. Instead, it sealed one's lifespan. Most of Ning Fan's lifespan had been sealed by this technique. Now, he only had 100 years left. Originally, when Ning Fan broke through to the void fragmentation realm, his lifespan would be greatly increased. Now that Ning Fan's body was sealed, even if he breaks through to the void fragmentation realm, the increase in his lifespan would still be sealed. He would still only have 100 years of lifespan. This sealing technique was extremely vicious. It was not that Ning Fan could not break it, but he did not dare to. He could use the wind mist technique to slowly break this seal. However, he would definitely have to bear the consequences of breaking the seal. If he did not cultivate to the immortal realm, he would die immediately once the seal is broken. If he did not cultivate to the immortal realm, he would also die after 100 years. The only correct way to break the seal was to break through life and death within 100 years and cultivate to the immortal realm. Normally, only immortals could achieve immortality. However, there were also exceptions. There were also a few rogue immortals who could break through life and death before becoming immortals and obtain immortality. These kind of people would usually only appear once in a million years. Ning Fan remained silent. In order to break the seal, he would need to become an immortal within 100 years. It was easier said than done. He did not think that he was a genius that appeared once in a million years who could break through life and death before becoming an immortal. Since he only had 100 years of lifespan left, it meant that he could no longer enter the dark golden pagoda from today onwards. The flow of time inside was too fast. He did not have enough lifespan to squander. Fortunately, other than the dark golden pagoda, he still had a second cultivation cheat, the profound Yin world. What a vicious sealing technique. If you can't become an immortal within 100 years, you will die. Luo Yu's heart ached. I won't die under this level of sealing technique. Ning Fan gradually recovered some of his magic power. He slowly stood up and glanced at the rogue devil. He then patted the devil pouch and kept it inside. Although he was sealed, this seal was not completely without its benefits. This sealing technique contained all the purple sun power of the sect masters of the three worlds. If one day, Ning Fan was able to break through to the immortal realm, he would be able to remove the sealing technique without any worries and refine and absorb the purple sun power within. Then, he could complete the second yang spirit of the steel of sun and moon. Ning Fan consumed some pills again and turned into a ray of light, speeding along the passage of the world. He did not have time to recuperate. He did not even give Emperor Moksha the time to search his primordial spirit and soul. He had to cross the passage immediately and return to the rain world. Because of the battle, the passage was showing signs of instability. It was unknown when it would collapse. If Ning Fan did not return to the rain world before the passage collapsed, he would be in big trouble. He sped along the way and passed by the battlefield. He collected all the storage pouches scattered on the ground and extracted the blood essence of the void fragmentation realm old monsters' corpses, storing them in the Xian Wei blood gourd to brew blood wine. There were too many experts who had fallen in this battle. Ning Fan's harvest was naturally huge. However, he did not have the time to count his gains now. I must cross the passage as soon as possible and return to the rain world. In a secret chamber in the Nirvana Hall of the Devil World, two black-armored devil cultivators, one old and one young, suddenly sensed something. Their eyes were filled with extreme anger. In the Nirvana Hall, the life tablets of the 4 devil elders and the other experts were all shattered. How is this possible? The 4 devil elders have all died in battle. Even my current body has fallen. The 2 devil cultivators were enraged. In the heaven immortal world, in the 3 worlds sect, the great elder of the sect was holding a broken life tablet. His entire body was trembling and his eyes were filled with fear. Sect Master is dead. On this day, the heaven immortal world was in an uproar because the sect master of the 3 worlds sect, who was at the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, had actually fallen. The reason was unknown. The 3 worlds sect did not disclose it to the outside world. However, those who were observant could still find some clues. In the middle state of the rain world, in the vast sky, a gigantic rain gate suddenly appeared out of nowhere. As soon as the rain gate appeared, a pale-faced young man in white robes walked out of it. All of a sudden, the sky was filled with drizzles. The left side of the young man's face was covered with purple sealing techniques. He glanced at the rain world indifferently and heaved a sigh of relief. Rain world. I'm back. Chapter 6:14. Ning Fan stood in the sky of the middle province with a slightly relieved expression. Not long after he returned to the rain world, the world passage completely collapsed. The world passage was formed by the world-breaking light. Once the world passage collapsed, the world-breaking light was enough to shred the bodies of scattered immortal cultivators. If Ning Fan's traveling light is slightly slower, he would probably die in the collapse of the world passage. That was close. Is this the Muyun nation in the west of the Central Plains? Ning Fan's spirit sense slowly spread out, covering an area of 1 million li. Muyun country was a low-ranked cultivation country. Its territory was only a few 100,000 miles wide. Ning Fan's spirit sense spread far and wide, covering all the cultivation cities and sects in the entire Muyun country. At this moment, all the cultivators of Sunset Cloud Nation were shocked. They felt as if they had been swept by an extremely powerful divine sense. The monarch of the Muyun kingdom was an old monster at the peak of the Golden Elixir realm. At this moment, he was in seclusion in a cultivator city. When he sensed this extremely frightening divine sense, he immediately exclaimed in shock. What level of divine will is this? Even a nascent soul cultivator's divine sense can't reach this level. Could it be the legendary soul formation divine sense? While he was still in shock, a black flame suddenly flashed in front of him, and a white-robed young man appeared in front of him. This white-robed young man was none other than Ning Fan. The reason why he came to look for the Muyun country lord was because he wanted to ask about the current situation of the rain world. The king of the Muyun country stared at Ning Fan, who appeared out of nowhere. His heart was filled with extreme shock. His status was low and he did not know how Marquis White Robe looked like in the rain world. Naturally, he did not know Ning Fan's identity. The reason why he was shocked was because Ning Fan had directly appeared in his stone chamber. One should know that there was a nascent level lower grade grand array outside the stone chamber. Since Ning Fan could ignore the low-grade nascent soul realm formation light and directly enter the stone chamber, his cultivation base was at least at the mid or late nascent soul realm. When he thought about the terrifying spirit sense he sensed just now, the king of Muyun inwardly guessed that this Ning Fan in front of him was probably a divine transformation realm old monster, and the spirit sense he sensed just now was from him. This junior is the Sunset Cloud Country's king, Xiao Shi. May I know why senior has come here? Is there anything I can help you with? The king of Muyun bowed and bowed deeply. He did not dare to raise his head as he was afraid of angering Ning Fan. Based on his speculation, Ning Fan was a divine transformation realm old monster who possessed unparalleled strength. He could eliminate gold core realm and nascent soul realm cultivators with just a raise of his hand. To him, a divine transformation realm old monster was already a legendary figure, so he naturally did not dare to offend them. If he knew that the person standing in front of him was the dignified Marquis White Robe of the Rain World, he would probably be paralyzed on the ground. Don't be nervous, I'm just here to ask some questions. If I am satisfied with your answer, I will bestow upon you some benefits. Hearing that there would be a reward, the Muyun monarch's eyes lit up with excitement. After all, the benefits casually bestowed by a deity transformation old monster were enough for him to enjoy for the rest of his life. Junior will definitely tell you everything I know. Tell me everything that happened in the Rain world in the past 2 years. Yes. The monarch of the Muyun country raised his spirits and briefly organized the information in his mind. Then, he told him all the major events that happened in the Rain world in the past 2 years. Although his cultivation level was low, he was still the monarch of the Middle States Shou country. Therefore, he would be able to receive the news no matter what happened in the Rain world. For example, the Pill Sovereign attained the 7th Revolution Pill Refinement Realm, the sect master of the Lan Ling country recovered from his injuries and attained the Void Fragmentation Realm, a lady in Yu country in the southeastern continent broke through to the Void Fragmentation Realm. When he mentioned that the Rain world had 2 Void Fragmentation Realm experts, he could not help but feel a little proud. The Rain world had always been the weakest in the 9 worlds. After having 2 Void Fragmentation Realm experts, the overall strength of the world would certainly increase greatly. Senior, you might not know this, but that sect master of the Lan Ling country, Prince Lan Ling, was already the strongest expert below the Void Fragmentation Realm in the Rain world before attaining the Void Fragmentation Realm. After attaining the Void Fragmentation Realm, I heard that even Prince Jinghong was not a match for him. As for the other Void Fragmentation Realm female senior, she is even more powerful. I heard that she is the wife of Marquis White Robe and people call her Fairy Bright Sparrow. After listening to the monarch's explanation, Ning Fan's eyes lit up slightly. During the 2 years that he was away, nothing major happened in the Rain world. Yu country was also not in a huge mess. That made him feel slightly relieved. However, he did not expect that the Rain world would have 2 more Void Fragmentation Realm experts during the short 2 years that he was away. Prince Lan Ling's injuries had completely healed and he had already successfully attained the Void Fragmentation Realm. Even though this matter surprised Ning Fan, he did not pay much attention to it. To the current Ning Fan, even if Prince Lan Ling succeeds in attaining the Void Fragmentation Realm, he was just a first Void Fragmentation Realm cultivator who was not worth mentioning. As for Fairy Bright Sparrow, who had successfully attained the Void Fragmentation Realm, it really surprised Ning Fan. Ning Fan muttered inwardly. Could it be that this little pill devil had picked up some heaven-defying treasure and eaten it? Otherwise, how could she attain the Void Fragmentation Realm in just 2 years? Unbelievable. This is really unbelievable. By the way, the Rain Sovereign has the intention to summon 2 new Void Fragmentation Realm experts. He has already summoned them to the Rain Palace a month ago. The monarch added. Bright Sparrow is currently in the Rain Palace. Ning Fan's eyes turned grim. Seeing Ning Fan's expression turn cold, the monarch was terrified. Cold sweat kept dripping down his forehead. He did not know which of his words had offended Ning Fan. Just as he was panicking, he saw Ning Fan waving his hand and taking out a pill bottle and giving it to him. I'm very satisfied with your answer. As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Fan's figure flashed and slowly disappeared from his original spot. Inside the stone chamber, the monarch of Muyun held the pill bottle in his hand. The fear in his heart gradually dissipated. After a long time, he opened the pill bottle. As soon as he saw the pill inside, his face immediately lit up with joy. Then, he bowed to the direction where Ning Fan had left. Thank you for giving me the pill, Senior. I will never forget Senior's kindness in my life. The pill that Ning Fan gave him was a nascent formation pill. It could increase the chances of him forming his nascent soul. The monarch of Muyun was already close to forming his nascent soul. Thus, this nascent formation pill was very important to him. He was close to forming his nascent soul. Ning Fan left Muyun country. He rode on the ancient golden sword and flew away. He flew all the way to the east towards Heavenly Cloud country. He sat cross-legged on the ancient sword. His body was as steady as a boulder. The violent heavenly wind could not shake his body at all. Occasionally, Ning Fan would consume some pills to recover his magic power and stabilize his injuries. His expression was rather solemn. He was a little worried about Bright Sparrow's safety. If Bright Sparrow heads to the Rain Palace, Mu Luo's 5 broken clones would not be able to follow her. At most, he would be accompanied by the little Sable. If the Rain Sovereign has the intention to harm Bright Sparrow, I wonder if she will still be safe. This time, Ning Fan did not stay in the tree world for a long time. However, a lot of things had happened. Now that she has attained the Void Fragmentation Realm, she might not be a match for the Rain Sovereign in a head-on battle. However, if the Rain Sovereign wants to kill her, I'm afraid it won't be an easy task. Besides, you also have quite a number of friends in the Rain Palace. There's the Pills Sovereign and Yun Bushu. They will certainly protect little sister Bright Sparrow for you. Luo Yu's reminder gently entered Ning Fan's mind. Her tone carried a hint of seduction and teasing. After hearing her words, Ning Fan's heart calmed down. Luo Yu was right. He was indeed confused because he was too concerned. Bright Sparrow was not a weakling. She had obtained Seed Song's inheritance before. She had many life-saving techniques. Even if she could not defeat the Rain Sovereign, she still had the means to protect herself. The Pill Sovereign and Ning Fan had been through life and death together. He would certainly take care of Bright Sparrow and not let the Rain Sovereign hurt her. The Pill Sovereign was a 7th Revolution Pill Refinement Master. If he wants to protect Bright Sparrow, the Rain Sovereign would also give him some face. You're right. Bright Sparrow will be fine. I've been worrying too much. Ning Fan's eyes gradually calmed down. During this trip to the Rain Palace, he must properly handle his relationship with the Rain Sovereign. It would naturally be the best if he could coexist peacefully with the Rain Sovereign. If not, he would have to establish his prestige in front of the Rain Sovereign so that the latter would not dare to attack him again. For the sake of the Rain Ancestor, he would try his best not to fall out with the Rain Sovereign. However, if the Rain Sovereign is stubborn and insists on being his enemy, he would not show any mercy. No matter how great the Rain Ancestor's friendship was, it was not enough for Ning Fan to let go of his true enemy. The journey to the Heavenly Cloud Nation was still quite far. It would probably take a few more days. Ning Fan put away his thoughts and focused on recovering his magic power. With the help of the pills, Ning Fan's magic power gradually recovered to its peak state. Unfortunately, there were still some hidden injuries in his body that had yet to heal. In particular, the sealing technique inside his body made him feel slightly uncomfortable. This immortal-grade sealing technique is extremely troublesome. This is the price I have to pay for killing the sect masters of the 3 realms. Ning Fan flicked his sleeves and took out 19 storage pouches. Among these 19 storage pouches, there were the storage pouches of the sect masters of the 3 realms, Moksha Sovereign and 17 Void Fragmentation Realm experts including Old Monster Tian Fei and the 4 Devil Elders of the Nirvana Palace. On the World Passage, Ning Fan had no time to care about these spoils of war. However, at this moment, he could properly organize the spoils of war. There were a total of 420,000 Dao crystals in the 19 storage pouches. To Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators, every time they refine 10 Dao crystals, they could increase their magic power by 1 yuan period. To Ning Fan, every 5 Dao crystals could increase his magic power by 1 yuan period. It would take a lot of time to refine all 420,000 Dao crystals. However, if he refines all of them, his magic power could also skyrocket. Other than the Dao crystals, the other spoils of war were also very abundant. Among the 19 storage pouches, the ones that tempted Ning Fan the most were the storage pouches of the sect masters of the 3 realms and Moksha Sovereign. There were still 15 lightning shock balls in the storage pouch of the sect masters of the 3 realms. Each of them was enough to instantly kill a second heavenly layer Void Fragmentation Realm cultivator. Other than that, Ning Fan also obtained the defining technique of the Three Realms sect from the storage pouch of the sect masters of the Three Realms, the Vortex Space Technique. Ning Fan had suffered a few times under the effects of the Vortex Space Technique. Even though he knew that this technique was powerful, he did not put it in his heart. However, after reading the introduction of this technique, Ning Fan was deeply shocked by it. This Vortex Space Technique was actually an immortal technique. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.